Regularly scheduled programs will not be seen at this time so that we may bring you the Nebraska-Oklahoma football game.
Thanksgiving Day, 1971, Owen Field, Norman, Oklahoma. For your holiday enjoyment, ABC Sports is proud to present a college football game of the year. The Nebraska Cornhuskers, unbeaten in 29 games, ranked #1 in the nation, against the second-ranked Oklahoma Sooners, who lead the nation in total offense. College football today is brought to you by Money, Mutual of New York. Whether it's life or health insurance, individual or group, it's good to have money in your future. By Tudor, makers of NFL electric football and NFL strategy, and by Brill Cream. That little dab of Brill Cream leaves your hair looking natural. At last, the day has arrived. The game that everybody has been talking about for the past 6 weeks in college football. The defending national champions from Nebraska, playing their arch rivals from Oklahoma, ranked #2. And of course it is a sellout crowd here at Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma. It's a rather chilly day, 47 degrees, and a rather windy, overcast day. But no rain or snow is in sight. I'm Bill Fleming, welcoming you to this confrontation between Oklahoma and Nebraska. Since 1936, when the Associated Press began taking its rankings, this is the fifth time actually, that the #1 and #2 teams have met toward the end of the season. First it was Army-Navy in 45, and then of course you'll remember 1966, when it was Michigan State and Notre Dame. What a game that one was in East Lansing. And this was the pass to Gene Washington that eventually set up the field goal for Michigan State. That game, as you know, wound up 10-10, and Notre Dame was crowned the national champions of that year. Then in 1967, O.J. Simpson carried USC to that memorable 21-20 victory over UCLA. And this was one of the greatest runs ever seen in college football. O.J. Simpson of the Trojans. USC went on to beat Indiana in the Rose Bowl game, and then were named the national champions of 67. Then, of course, who could ever forget? December the 6th, 1969, Fayetteville, Arkansas. The Texas Longhorns came from behind to defeat Arkansas. That pass to Randy Peschel set up Longhorns' winning touchdown. And they went on to defeat Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl, and again were named national champions. So here we are today with Oklahoma and Nebraska, not only #1 and #2, but Oklahoma is the nation's top offensive team. Nebraska is the nation's top defensive team. As they say, something has got to give. We'll be back with Bud Wilkinson to examine these teams more closely in just a moment.
Harry, your hair looks like it just died. It needs the bounce, Harry.
A little dab of Brill Cream on your hair gives you the Brill Cream bounce.
Looks alive and natural, Harry.
Harry! Brill Cream on your hair gives you the Brill Cream bounce.
Ask Harry.
This is Firestone's new asymmetrical Town and Country winter tire with 3 separate tread sections and room for 112 ice-gripping studs. The tire to start you, stop you, steer you through the worst winter weather. Now when you buy one, you get the second one at 50% off regular exchange price, plus federal excise tax, at all participating Firestone dealers and stores. If you already have them on your rear wheels, get a pair for the front. Once you feel how you stop and steer with these tires on every wheel, you'll never be without them in winter again.
And now let's talk to Bud Wilkinson about this game. And Bud, let's start off, first of all, with Nebraska.
The Nebraska offense operates from 2 different formations, one primarily a running formation. It's the I slot. The second formation is a spread. Now, normally, teams will run from the slot formation and throw from the spread formation, and they'll be in the spread on long yardage. But Nebraska gives you either formation on any down and yardage situation, and this makes it particularly difficult for the defense to be in the set that they would like to be in. Let's take a look at what these 2 formations look like, and I think you'll find it very apparent how much power there is from the slot I formation on a running attack. You can see the Nebraska team here in their I formation, and that's power inside with Kinney and Olds able to hit strongly straight ahead, and Rogers, of course, always being the threat on any type of play-action pass. From the spread formation, Kinney moves up and becomes a wingback, And when they're in the spread, they have 4 receivers who can get downfield almost immediately. Let's take a look at Nebraska now in the spread formation. You can see that the defense now has got to cover pass receivers from sideline to sideline, and they still have a reasonable running threat because Jerry Taggy, their quarterback, number 14, 6'2", 215 pounds, he's hitting 62% of his passes, which is an amazing statistic. He's also a very strong runner. From this spread formation, he executes the option play particularly well. He gives the balance to the spread, and this is, of course, the option with Taggy breaking it. And he's a strong, strong man.
You know, Bud, you talked about him being one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country. You're certainly right. But let's take a look at Johnny Rogers here. This, I think, is one of the most spectacular runbacks of a punt we have ever seen. This really gives you an idea of the blazing speed of Johnny Rogers. Just absolutely goes right through people before they even have a chance to react.
Well, Oklahoma fans talk about Greg Pruitt. Nebraska fans talk about Johnny Rogers, number 20. And watch him here as he catches a sideline cut and then almost breaks it.
All right, well, here is the look at the defense for Nebraska, because that is what their mettle is, really. First in total defense, second in rushing defense, and second in scoring defense.
Another interesting statistic, of course, is that their first defensive unit has only had 5 touchdowns scored on them all year. So their average of points scored against them is 3.5 per game.
You know, but one thing, this is the first time they're ever going to see the wishbone. Strangely enough, they have not played against it. How do you think they'll do first time out?
Well, the timing of the wishbone's a little bit quicker and a little bit faster, and it'll take them a little time, I think, to get used to it.
All right, we'll have a little closer investigation of that wishbone here on Turkey Day in just a moment.
(1928). General Electric televises the first remote TV broadcast as Al Smith accepts the presidential nomination. 1971. Where's GE today? After over 40 years, we're right where you'd expect us to be, with as much TV know-how as anyone in the world, with remarkable one-touch color tuning, with the brightest, richest color picture in GE history. At General Electric, we build every television as if we had to use it ourselves.
It's going to be a run. It's going to be a pass. I mean, it's going to be a run.
This man is meeting the challenge of NFL strategy, the brain game for serious football nuts. It gives you over 6,000 play possibilities and a playbook like the ones used in the NFL.
And first and goal on your 2.
It's as close to the real game as you can get without body contact. NFL strategy by Tudor.
We find that more and more teams are using the wishbone offense this year. And just as a matter of interest, we put down the number of teams that were using it, the teams that weren't, and here's a rather startling statistic. The ones that were not have averaged 19.7 points per game. The wishbone teams, 23.7. That's 4 more points per game. And in taking into consideration the fact that many teams are just starting the wishbone this year, have very poor records. So I think it even speaks for the offense being stronger than it is. Bud Wilkinson has a demonstration of it.
The thing that makes the wishbone tee so particularly difficult to stop, and what is the new innovation in offensive football, is that when you're going inside the defensive tackle, or between the tackle and the end, the off-tackle play, or around the end, you don't block the 2 key defensive men who are in the red shirts. Now, on the first option, the quarterback will read the defensive tackle. If he comes across the line of scrimmage deep, then I'm going to give the fullback the ball, number 10, and he will be hitting inside because the tackle will be too deep to get to him. And the play will look like this. Walk. Down. Up. On each play, the quarterback's first option is the defensive tackle. And if the defensive tackle does not cross the line of scrimmage, as he did on the first play, but rather stays on the line of scrimmage to tackle the fullback, number 10, then the quarterback will not give it to the fullback, but will keep it himself and go out and option the defensive end, the man with his hand in the air. If the end plays deep, the quarterback will keep the ball, and the play will look like this. Walk. Down. Up. On the third option, the quarterback again looks at the defensive tackle, the man with his hand in the air. If he closes to play the fullback, The quarterback goes out to option the defensive end, the man who has his hand in the air. If he closes at the quarterback will pitch the ball to his trailing halfback, and of course the lead halfback is in perfect position to block downfield. The play will look like this. Block. Down. Hike. Now the defense, in order to stop the triple option, has a tendency to move very quickly with the movement of the quarterback and fullback. And if they make that very quick movement, the block of the center on the middle guard is easy. The quarterback will step here, the defense will move, and the quarterback will now give the ball to the halfback, number 11 on the counter play, as the defense is moving to the side of the original fake. The play looks like this. Walk. Down. Hike. All of the plays that we have demonstrated were making the first fake to this side. But the thing to remember is that the wishbone tee can operate with the same plays to this side, which doubles the defensive problem. And in addition to the basic plays, the quarterback can fake and go back to throw the ball. So it's an offense of infinite variety, and it will put great pressure on Nebraska. It's the problem that the Cornhuskers face this afternoon.
And those players used in the demonstration, by the way, were LSU freshmen who donated their services last week. Here's the way the wishbone looks as far as Oklahoma is going to use it today, and you'll notice one big thing. It is a balanced type of offense. But
the fact that you can go to either side will pressure the Nebraska defense, because normally they use a monster man that would like to be to the wide field. This is the first play, of course. The handoff to the fullback when the tackle comes along across the line of scrimmage. Cross-white, Oklahoma's fullback taking it in for the score. If the close on the fullback, the quarterback now options the end, and this time Mildren kept the ball. Mildren, of course, is ideally suited to play in this formation. 200 pounds, very fast, and a much better passer than some people think. When the end closes on him, he pitches the ball back, and there's the block of the lead halfback, Wiley. And watch Craig Pruitt's moves on this one.
unbelievable.
Pruitt and Rogers are going to be something to watch this afternoon.
Well, that's a bit of a look at both teams. Now let's have the keys to victory, Bud, and how much determination of the wind here is it going to make?
Well, the wind is going to affect the kicking game, Bill, but not the passing game too much. I don't believe that field position is going to be as important in this game as it normally is, because both of these teams move the ball so well. Their idea is we want the ball, we don't care where we get it. If I had to reduce it to one thing, Oklahoma plays a high-risk offense. By that I mean they handle the ball along the line of scrimmage with those options, and they are slightly prone to fumble. Any team is when you handle the ball that way. I don't believe Oklahoma can lose the ball more than 2 times on fumbles and still win, and their average for the season is losing the ball 2.8. So that's going to be a very important factor.
Okay, Bud, thanks for your comments, and we'll be back in just a moment with the final word here prior to the kickoff, the game between Nebraska and Oklahoma, coming to you from Owen Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma.
Ken Rabat for Money, Mutual of New York. We're in the locker room with wide receiver Rich Castor. We're looking at some of the protective armor that Rich wears.
Right. Helmets with face guards, pads, and of course this taping helps a lot too.
And with all the hard knocks that take place on the field. See what I mean? It's a good thing Rich has every bit of this protection.
At Money, we're out to cushion you against some of life's hard knocks. Our protection is life insurance, health insurance, retirement plans, individual or group. So when bad breaks hit you, we can help you or your family make a comeback. Get together with an experienced money man. See if you don't agree.
It's good to have money in your future. Money, Mutual of New York.
And so the stage is set for this historic battle. And perhaps the best way to close our pregame show would be to quote for you the poem penned this week by Don Bryant, the Sports Information Director of Nebraska. It's a simple poem, only 2 lines long. Huskers are 1, Sooners are 2. Both are red. One will be blue.
Invite you to join the thousands gathered here, along with our youth, radio and
Jane Wyman stars on the movie of the weekend, Saturday night on ABC.
NCAA college football, another exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. College football 1971, the game for number one. Unbeaten and untied Nebraska versus unbeaten and untied Oklahoma. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Brute, for men by Fabergé. After shave, after shower, after anything. Brute by Fabergé. By Texaco, the many thousands of Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. Trust Texaco to have the right gasoline for your car. By General Motors and the people who make Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, Cadillac, Opel, and GMC trucks. The cars and trucks with the GM mark of excellence. And by your independent insurance agent, who reminds you insurance is too important to entrust to an amateur. So see a pro. You'll find him where you find this big I symbol. Today, it's the showcase of college football as we look at the number one ranked team in the nation in the white jerseys, the Cornhuskers from Nebraska, being intercepted by the Sooners of Oklahoma. In the crimson jerseys, they are ranked number 2. The game to decide who is number 1. The two top-ranked teams in the nation. A football classic that's been building for weeks, ever since Oklahoma defeated convincingly the University of Texas. We have a carnival atmosphere here, ladies and gentlemen, a holiday atmosphere. And the man on my left is the fellow that started the football prominence right here at Oklahoma, Charles Bud Wilkinson. And Bud, this is a game that I think has more build-up, more excitement than any I've done in the some 500.
Well, anytime you have the best offensive team in the country statistically that's played a tough schedule like Oklahoma against the best defensive team in the country, you know something is really going to be sparkle and different than you normally get it. The Nebraska offense, one of the things to look for that's unusual is Johnny Rogers, number 20, one of the more dangerous college football players I've ever seen, is listed as a wingback wide receiver, but he'll line up any place along the line of scrimmage. They hide him, and that makes it almost impossible, Chris, to play him man for man.
And the nation's number 1 defense against scoring. Nebraska will be confronted with a potent offense. They're number 1 in that department, the wishbone.
Well, the wishbone offense is really, at the moment, slightly ahead of the defense. The options along the line of scrimmage are very difficult to play defensively. I can summarize very quickly by saying when I was a single wing football player, we used to run off tackle by double teaming both the tackle and the end. The wishbone going wide does not block the tackle and does not block the end, and that releases 4 men to block downfield. So it's got something really going for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's overcast, not expected to be quite this cool, with a very strong wind coming out of the south, 47 degrees, and feeling the brunt of it all is our colleague Bill Fleming. Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the starting lineups. We're going to introduce the offensive teams today. Nebraska, split end from Grosse Pointe, Michigan, number 32, Woody Cox. Left tackle from East Orange, New Jersey, number 72, Darrell White. Left guard from Los Angeles, number 77, Dick Rupert. Center from Melrose Park, Illinois, number 54, Doug Dumler. Right guard from Whittier, California, number 65, Keith Wortman. At right tackle, number 71, Carl Johnson. And number 78, Al Austin. At tight end, from Bay City, Michigan, number 85, Jerry List. At quarterback, from Green Bay, Wisconsin, number 14, Jerry Taggy. Running back from McCook, Nebraska, number 35, Jeff Kinney. Slot back from Omaha, number 20, Johnny Rogers. Fullback from Kansas City, Kansas, number 44, Bill Oles. And the head coach of the Cornhuskers, Bob Devaney. Good luck, coach. And now for the Sooners of Oklahoma. Tight end from Oklahoma City, 82, Al Chandler. Left tackle, Littleton, Colorado, 60, Dean Unruh. Left guard from Tulsa, number 73, Darrell Emmett. At center from Midland, Texas, number 54, Tom Brahaney. Right guard from Omaha, number 72, Ken Jones. Right tackle from Yukon, number 79, Robert Jensen. Split end from Abilene, number 12, John Harrison. At quarterback from Abilene, 11, Jack Milgram. Left halfback from Clinton, Oklahoma, number 35, Roy Bell. Left halfback from Henderson, Texas, number 22, Joe Wiley. At fullback from Hennessy, Oklahoma, number 17, Leon Crosswhite. At right halfback from Houston, Texas, number 30, Greg Pruitt. And the head coach, Chuck Fairbanks. Good luck, coach. Those are the lineups. Now that's where ABC comes back to. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you see the spirit that has prevailed here in Norman, Oklahoma.
They're always looking for someone to take your place, but I don't think they made that fellow yet. And I like to compete and I like to win, and I think that's the reason I'm still playing the game. And around our team, they refer to me as the old man, but I know I can compete with the kids on the field, and I think I can compete with them off the field, and that's where Brute comes in. It stays with you, it hangs in there. I use it, I like it.
Brute by Fabergé. After shave, after shower, after anything.
I'm Joe Namath. When I can't play football, at least I can watch football and enjoy my new Hamilton Beach Butter-Up Popper. The only popper that butters its own popcorn. Just set the butter here and watch things start popping. It's so automatic, I never have to scramble around. And to me, that's important. The new Hamilton Beach Butter-Up Popper. It makes great popcorn. And there's only one thing I like better than popcorn.
Hamilton Beach Scoville, where great ideas keep popping into our heads.
Vance Carlson is the referee for this game to decide the top team in the nation. Co-captains to the near side in the white jerseys, 14 quarterback Jerry Taggy, 18 Jim Anderson, both natives of Green Bay, Wisconsin. For Oklahoma on the far side, we have number 11 Jack Mildren, their quarterback, the injured Glenn King, and number 43 Steve Aycock from Midland, Texas, a linebacker. Let's listen.
Field judge. Skip Merrifield, your back judge. This is Wendell Winkler, your linesman. This is John McClintock, our spare official. And this is John Keck, your umpire. Okay, we'll allow Nebraska, the visiting captain, to call the toss in the air. Want it understood that should I drop it, I'll throw it up again. Okay, here we go. You're calling it? All right, heads. All right, Oklahoma, you understand he called heads, is that right? And it's tails. You may have this the momentum of the game. You may kick or receive or defend either goal. You will defend this goal, all right? You may kick or receive, all right? Oklahoma wins the toss, chose it to defend, and will kick. And we'll start the game in 1 minute and keep rolling.
Yes, there you see a sellout crowd, probably the largest in the history of football here in Norman, Oklahoma. Somewhere near 64,000 fans on the artificial turf. There is one area that's important today, and that is the neutral zone, which perhaps you may know is the length of the football. That's the battle line. You're looking at it now. The team that seizes control of this area will win. Face-to-face on the left, number 54, Tom Brahaney, an All-American from Oklahoma. And on the right, number 70, Rich Glover of Nebraska. They and the men on either side of them are not as publicized as the backs or ends, but the victors in this area of warfare this afternoon will be the winners of the game. Going back deep now, it'll be Nebraska receiving number 20, the best in the country, returning kicks Johnny Rogers. Number 35 on the far side is Jeff Kinney. Kicking off for the Oklahoma Sooners in the red jerseys, John Carroll, number 10. A 25-mile-an-hour wind coming from right to left. And here it is. This is an opportunity for the real Big Red to stand up. After 60 minutes, we'll know what team is at the top of the spot
Nebraska in white. They have their scarlet football pants. Oklahoma on the right with crimson jerseys and white pants. We hope you're watching in color, you're comfortable, and as soon as that ball is touched, the game will be underway. Johnny Rogers in his own end zone, 5, 10, 15, 20, coming out to the 25, and he was denied about 5 yards of his average kickoff return. Okay, Bud, we're ready as we look at the Nebraska line. Cox and List to the ends, with White and Johnson the tackles, Withman and Rupert the guards, Dumler is the center. While in the backfield, Jerry Taggy, number 14, a great rusher, 35, Jeff Kenny, the fullback, Bill Olds, 44, and Johnny Rogers, number 20. Watch for him. At the moment, he's just outside the near side tackle. We have Cox also outside, so from the 26-yard line, first down, Nebraska. Jerry Taggy. And his very first pass is completed to Johnny Rogers.
I was really a little surprised, Chris. It is a strong wind from the right of your screen to the left of the screen. Oklahoma, however, with the potent offense, having won the toss, chose to kick the ball, taking the wind, rather than to unleash their own wishbone.
A beautiful 7-yard gain, so it's second down and 3. There you see the wind. It's dying down just a bit. The little gust from the 33-yard line. Nebraska, Jerry Taggy, number 14. And to the deep back, it's Jeff Kenny, who is stopped after a yard gain. And it's done by Mark Driscoll, number 59, who is joined by 43 Aycock, 81 Claus. In the linebacker positions, we have Raymond Hamilton and Lionel Day as the ends. Moore and Selman are the tackles defensively, with Pope, Roach, Shelley, and O'Shaughnessy in the defensive backfield. No gain on the play, so it's third down and 3. The real test for the Nebraska defense right off. Rogers to the far side. Taggy. A 2-yard gain. It doesn't appear that they made it, so the Oklahoma defense, which hasn't received much publicity because of the potent offense of the wishbone, have done their job, with Aycock leading the defensive move at about the 35, Bud.
We're going to have a measurement, Chris, but I'm quite positive you called it correctly. Oklahoma's defense this afternoon will play a very much of an attacking pattern of play. By that, I know that they feel that they must force Nebraska to make it across the line of scrimmage, and when you are forcing everything, you're vulnerable to the big gain, but Nebraska will have the ball all day if you don't play it that way.
All right, now in the punt for Nebraska. We have number 26, Jeff Hughes. John Shelley is deep for the Oklahoma Sooners in the area of the 28-yard line. He's looking at the ball. It takes a bounce in reverse, and finally, very wisely, downed at the 32-yard line by Doug Dumler, who snapped the ball. A 32-yard punt, and now with the wind to their back after stopping Nebraska. Nebraska moved the ball 9 yards. We're forced to punt, and there's the offensive line for the Sooners. Jack Mildren, the cornerback. Roy Bell is starting instead of junior Joe Wiley, a sensation, but you'll see him later. And the real sensation, number 30, Greg Pruitt. Wiley Crosswhite, number 17, is the fullback. Here's the wishbone now. First and 10 for the Sooners, with the ball at the 33. And Leon Crosswhite, number 17, carried on the play. All-American Larry Jacobson, number 75, and Glover, number 79 in white, made the stop.
Let's watch Glover. We had him on against Brahaney just before we kicked the ball off, and he's defeating Brahaney here and making the tackle of Crosswhite.
2 All-Americans having a battle up front. Let's see them now. They're head-to-head right there. Almost looks illegal as we're on a second down and 8 from the 35. Mildren trying to pull away, but couldn't. Jack Mildren as number 45, Bob Terrio, who has made more solo tackles on the Nebraska defensive unit than any of the players. This program is being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds for local station identification. All right, number 45 in white, Bob Terrio. Tim Welch is in at fullback for Oklahoma. 3rd and 7 for the Sooners. And the wishbone is being effectively defensed by the Nebraska unit. Mildren carrying, and Jim Branch, number 51 in the white jersey, made the stop right at about the 38-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 5, Bud.
As the ball is snapped, Nebraska has 11 men coming toward that line of scrimmage, and they're going to be a little vulnerable for the play-action passes that operate off the wishbone fakes.
Joe Wiley back to punt. Johnny Rogers, number 20. He returns punts as well as kickoffs. It's high in the air, which is what Wiley wanted to do, so there'd be kick coverage, and Rogers gets away. Look at that. Johnny Rogers. Look at the moves by that sensational player, a native of Omaha, and he is gone. Bob Terrio drew the last block that got Johnny Rogers into the Oklahoma end zone, and Nebraska, number 1, leads 6-0 after about 75 yards. Offside against Oklahoma, needless to say. Jerry Taggett will get the final chat with the referee. At the moment, however, we have a timeout here at Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma.
Tijuana Smalls, 10 for the road, baby, for you, maybe you know who you are. You know who you are, Tijuana Smalls. Mellowed like wine, baby, for you, maybe you know who you are. You know who you are.
Tijuana Smalls. You don't have to inhale them to like them. 10 small cigars, 10 for the road.
The average car owner pays more for parking and tolls than for car insurance.
Even so, you paid too much for car insurance. Last year, you paid for over 55,000 lives, nearly 5 million injuries. You can't do much about inflation, but you can curb accidents.
People make insurance rates. A reminder from your local independent agent, the professional who gets you the best coverage at the best price. See a pro at this symbol.
The offside penalty on the try for the point has been assessed on the ensuing kickoff, which is about to happen. It's being teed up on the 45-yard line instead of the 40 as Nebraska at 11:28 of the first quarter. Johnny Rogers, best in the country, went 72 yards with a punt to score. Joe Wiley and Greg Pruitt are deep now, 2 fine run-back artists, as Rich Sanger has the ball teed up in the center of the field. Into the wind from the 45. Here's the Nebraska kick. And it is bobbled. It's taken by Greg Pruitt at the 5, coming out to the 10, makes his outside move, and a very fine tackle put on the play. Let's take a look at that touchdown.
Just a marvelous individual effort. There's one missed tackle. When you're trying to tackle someone as elusive as Rogers, you do miss some. He almost is on the ground, recovers. Watch this little wrinkle here. Back inside. He's past the first wall now. He head fakes past the official. Breaks to the outside, and then turns on that speed.
And now back live from the 15-yard line, the wishbone with Mildren running it to the outside. Getting little yardage because Jim Branch was the first to hit him. Jacobson was second, and then number 27, LaHawk of Columbus, Nebraska, making the stop at the 18-yard line.
That's Oklahoma's 4th offensive snap, and they've run each one to the narrow side of the field. Nebraska has been all season a very wide field conscious football team. They feel that they're still that way, and they want to straighten them up and balance them up.
John Harrison at the bottom of your screen on a 2nd down and 7. Greg Pruitt showing you his style. Pruitt, one of the contenders for the Heisman Trophy, gets the first down and the initial one for the Oklahoma Sooners, who are trailing 7-0 as we have 10:47 to go in the first quarter.
If you can't make the regular offense from the wishbone operate, the 3 options, the counter play usually is open, and this is the counter. Glover moving quickly to the outside against the first fake was cut down by Brahaney.
On the wishbone, 1st and 10 from the 35. And Leon Crosswhite, the fullback, number 17, goes for a couple of yards. Incidentally, Pruitt picked up a beautiful gain of 17 yards. His average per play was 9.5 yards this year. Scored 15 touchdowns as we isolate the middle guard, number 79 of Nebraska, Glover.
This is Glover, again, fighting past Brahaney, using his superior strength, tackling Crosswhite. And if the man over the center can move to the outside and stop the fullback, you've done a great deal to take away the 3 options.
2nd down and 8 from the 37. Crosswhite carrying the ball as Nebraska put in a new right tackle on defense, number 90, John Dutton, replacing Bill Jansen. The ball is across the 40 to the 41. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Jim Branch making the last stop. Nebraska leading 7-0 with 9 minutes, 39 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Oklahoma with the ball, 3rd and 4. Harrison comes to the near side. Mildren appears to have made the first down for Oklahoma. There's some of the variety of the wishbone attack.
That's the counter option play. The first fake being to the bottom of the screen, then the fake to Pruitt. That's the fake on the play he made 17 yards on just a few moments ago. Then back out with the regular outside option on the end. Mildren keeping for the first down.
1st and 10 from the 45. Nebraska leading 7-0. 9:14 to go in the first quarter. Oklahoma with the ball. Hit hard by Rich Glover, and Jacobson, 75, was Greg Pruitt, number 30. Glover now, already, Bud, with 4 tackles.
The Oklahoma runners, you can see their phenomenal average per carry. Pruitt, 9.5, Mildren, 6.3, Crosswhite, 5. Everybody averaging over 5 yards per try for the season.
This drive started at the 15. Now it's 2nd and 9 at their own 46, Oklahoma. You'll see that Nebraska linemen and linebackers are huge, but you'll also notice how agile they are. Larry Jacobson, number 75, and Terrio, number 45, are 2 of the finest, converging on number 11, Jack Mildren. Here's that defensive unit for Nebraska. Atkins, 57, Jacobson, 75, 45, Terrio, 79, Glover, 51, Branch, Jensen, 55, back in, 81, Willie Harper, LaHawk, 27, Mason, 25, Cush, 24, and Anderson, 18.
And on 3rd and long, most teams are going to throw the ball, but the wishbone teams still usually like to run. However, Mildren going with a long ball here.
John Harrison pulling in what was a hanging pass that wobbled most of the way. Bill Cush, however, could not defend against Harrison, and Mildren, who has completed only 22 passes, yet has thrown only 45 and 7 touchdowns, did the big one.
Let's take a look at it again. Inside fake. And the ball may be wobbling in the air, but it's right on the target.
1st and 10 now from the Nebraska 21. Oklahoma. Again from the wishbone, Leon Crosswhite. From Hennessy, Oklahoma, carrying on the play. Rich Glover again on the tackle as he gets a pat on the back from 51, Jim Branch. And Glover did get help in that case from Bob Terrio as the ball now is marked at the 19. It's 2nd down and 8. Nebraska leading 7-0 with 7:17 to go, first quarter.
And Oklahoma has it where they want it, right in the middle of the field where they can go either way equally well.
Harrison to the far side, split away. Good gang tackling by the Nebraska defense, including Bill Jansen, 55, Jim Anderson, 18, and Terrio, 45, as we look at Chuck Fairbanks. In his 6th year here, he's a graduate of Michigan State, and there you see his won and lost record as head coach. The man who was an assistant under Frank Cush at Arizona State, Bill Yeoman in Houston. And in his very first year with the Sooners, his team won the Big Ten. They upset Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. Now it's a 3rd down and 6. Leon Crosswhite trying for the yardage, and Terrio is 45 in the Nebraska white jersey.
And the defensive strategy of Nebraska is very apparent. Oklahoma being the great rushing team, they're simply going to close everything down on the running attack and attempt to force Oklahoma to throw the ball.
John Carroll is the field goal kicker, number 10 for the Oklahoma Sooners. He's hit on 7 of 10 this year, and on a 4th down and 2 from the 13. This kick will come from the 20, plus the 10 yards of the end zone on an angle. 30-yard attempt is up and good. A 30-yard perfect kick by John Carroll of Oklahoma with 5:57 to go in the first quarter. ABC and the NCAA combined to bring you the thrills of college football. With timeout, the score, Oklahoma 3, Nebraska 7.
When you're out in a car, trust is everything. On the road near a farm, trust is everything. You want to be able to always rely on the gasoline and motor oil and products you buy. If you depend on your car, trust is everything. Be sure it's always up to par. Trust is everything. As it stands control, we've got everything.
A 30-yard field goal by John Carroll of Oklahoma has closed the gap a bit on the number 1 ranked team, Nebraska. Nebraska leading 7-3. 5:57 to go in the first quarter as we look at 20 Rogers. Kenny 35 on the far side awaiting John Carroll's kick following the field goal. Ball is in the air with the wind behind. It's Jeff Kenny who comes out to the 10, has a blocker ahead of him, moves across to the 20 and puts his head down and comes out to the 25. Giving up precious few rushing passing yards per game has become quite a Nebraska tradition during the Devaney decade. NCAA statistics show that the Cornhuskers have finished in the top 20 nationally in total defense 9 times in the last 10 years.
It's that old saying, Chris, if you only get the ball by receiving kickoffs after the other team score, you're not very likely to win often.
After Oklahoma drove 72 yards and then kicked a 30-yard field goal, Nebraska leading 7-3, first and 10 at their own 24. Kenny was in motion. Taggy looking. Taggy. Very difficult to bring down. He weighs 215 pounds. Number 98 rather, Lucius Selman and Bruce Deloney in on the play. And there is a loss back to the 18-yard line, a loss of 6, second and 16, Bud.
And a new wrinkle with Kenny going in motion. That takes the I slot and makes it a spread formation after they've been set up in the I.
Kenny, Olds, and Rogers ready, along with Woody Cox to the near side on second and 16. Great defensive play on Johnny Rogers. Steve O'Shaughnessy of Midland, Texas, number 18, livens the Sooner cheering section on the far side of the field.
And the press box staffs, both Chuck Fairbanks and Bob Devaney, are looking at these defenses and reading them and trying to pick up what the keys are to unloose the offense just a little bit.
Rogers 20 to the left and bottom of your screen on 3rd down and 16. We'll watch him from the 18-yard line. Nebraska. And on the delay, Bill Olds, the fullback. Not enough, of course, for the first down, but look at the desire of John Shelley of Oklahoma City, number 33, a senior, showing us how he can tackle. He's a boy that has 5 interceptions as well on the year. So with the ball at the 24, it's 4th down and 10, and the sun begins to come through the clouds. John Shelley awaits Jeff Hughes' punt for Nebraska. Nearly blocked. It's high in the air, coming down at midfield, and going back into Nebraska territory at the 44. So Oklahoma has field position at about the 45. The punt officially measured at 21 yards as Nebraska leads 7-3, 3:56 to go in the first quarter. Steve Aycock.
And again, Chris, for someone who tuned in late, we should point out that there's a very strong wind blowing from the right of your screen to the left of the screen. Nebraska punting into the wind.
We have a timeout here at Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma, where the score is Nebraska 7, Oklahoma 3.
The other night, my son and I really fought it out, man to man. You see, we got this new model car racing set called Class A Open Track Racing. Open track means there are no slots, no lanes. Cars can pass on either side, bump, even sideswipe. But this requires split-second control. Class A racing doesn't need batteries or electricity. You gotta make pit stops to pick up your power. Well, with only 7 laps to go, I pulled off the track. But Gary ignored my advice and gambled on finishing without making a final pit stop. I was back on the track in 5.5 seconds. Good time. But Gary had gained a lap lead. Then, coming into his last lap, he ran out of power and was just coasting. I picked up a full lap and caught him right on the finish line.
Class A racing. No slots, no lanes, and it doesn't need batteries or electricity. It's ideal.
Who is number 1? This is the game that will decide it here in Norman, Oklahoma, as we have 3 minutes and 56 to go in the first quarter. Oklahoma, good field position at the Nebraska 45. First down, they trail 7-3. Mildred banking and throwing on first down. Looping one out there. Albert Chandler, who has caught 4 touchdown passes in the last 4 games, was covered by Jim Anderson Chandler had gotten behind Jim, but the pass was long. You know, tonight on ABC at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, it's Georgia versus Georgia Tech from Atlanta, Georgia. And at halftime of this game, the Downtown Athletic Club of New York will make its annual announcement of the Heisman Trophy winner. That's tonight on ABC, and one of the leading candidates is in the Oklahoma backfield. Number 30, Greg Pruitt. Harrison goes to the far side. It is Pruitt in the slot on 2nd down and 10. Joe Wiley in the lineup for the first time. Number 22 is stopped by number 79 again, Rich Glover, a junior from Jersey City, New Jersey.
And the Nebraska defense looking awfully strong. The unit that's on the field now has given up an average of only 3.5 points per game. Let's watch Glover again. He's the anchor to the defense. If you're not tough down the middle, there's no place to go. He beat a double team that time. Jones and Haney both moving in, but he went right between them. He's had 6 tackles, 1 assist.
So we have a 3rd down and 10 for Oklahoma. Mildren trying to make it up with a pass. Too high again. John Harrison, the intended receiver, so it brings up a 4th down and 10. And if you just joined us, Nebraska took the opening kickoff, went 9 yards, had to punt. Oklahoma then went 5 yards, forced to punt, and on it, Johnny Rogers returned it 72 yards for Nebraska to score. Then Oklahoma went 72 yards, stalled, so they kicked a successful 30-yard field goal. And that's the situation right now as we look at Johnny Rogers, who the last time he fielded a punt, he scored. Joe Wiley will do the punting for Oklahoma. We have 3 minutes, 13 seconds to go in the first quarter. 7-3 the score. Raheem Smith to Wiley. Wiley's kick. Rogers looking at it at the 12. Hemmed in. And this time there were enough Sooner jerseys there to make sure. Greg Pruitt, number 30, was one of the tacklers. So the ball now is dead as we look at a big score. Texas 7, Texas A&M nothing, Bud.
And Texas, if they win this game, will return to the Cotton Bowl. If Texas A&M wins, Texas A&M would go to the Liberty Bowl. Arkansas will be in the Liberty Bowl, however, if Texas defeats Texas A&M.
And number 97, Derlin Moore, a defensive right tackle for Oklahoma, was in quickly on Jeff Kenny on a 1st and 10 from the 19. But he did gain, let's call it 2 yards to the 21, so it'll be a 2nd down and 8. 7-3 the score. If you just joined us, that's an OU cheerleader. But in the white jerseys, we were about to say the number 1 team in the nation, Nebraska. 2nd and 8. Taggy. Out of bounds, Woody Cox, number 32. Nearly stayed in.
2 minutes and 28 seconds remaining, and then Nebraska will have the wind at their back, which will make it a little easier for Jerry Taggy's passing.
So it brings up a 3rd down and 8. Well, there is so much red at Owen Stadium. The last time I saw that much, Bud, was when I looked at my checking account. Beautiful here today. Great for the game. Woody Cox and Rogers set away on a 3rd down and 8. Nebraska, good fake by Taggy. Then a little screen. Flipped out there to Kenny. He's at the 20, now comes to the 25. A marker is down, and there may have been a clip on number 65, Keith Wortman, the offensive right tackle. Let's see. Holding called against Nebraska. So apparently the right guard, Wortman, was holding on the play because the official immediately threw the flag in the area. That was on a 3rd and 8.
It's kind of a tough decision. They've got 4th and 8. If they do not take the penalty, Nebraska will be kicking into an awfully strong wind. There are 2 minutes and 17 seconds remaining. Do you want to give them another snap, or do you force them to kick into the wind right now? That's what Oklahoma's debating.
Steve Aycock told the referee, no go.
And I would agree, Chris.
Yes, I would too.
Make them put the ball in the air and get it yourself and have that wind for the next 2 minutes.
Oklahoma's a team all year that has averaged more than 30 points in the first half. They have only 3 thus far as we look at 33. John Shelley awaiting Jeff Hughes' punt into the wind on 4th down. The punt is up, sailing beautifully into the wind as Shelley looks at it at about the 34. He is immediately hit. What timing on the part of Johnny Rogers, number 20. So now the 2 superstars, you've seen Pruitt make a big tackle following a kick, and then Rogers.
The scoring frequency is one of the more interesting statistics. Nebraska has had the ball 91 times, passing to them 1st and 10 during the season, have scored 52 times. Oklahoma has had 100 possessions thus far during the season and has scored 57. That means they put it on the board better than half the time when they get it 1st and 10.
From the 31, first down with about 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. 7-3. Nebraska leading as Joe Wiley from Henderson, Texas, number 22, carries on the play. LaHawk in on the play, joined by Glover. And the ball is at the 36, so it'll be a 2nd down and 5 for Oklahoma. The Sooners send Harrison, number 12, to the far side as a split end from the wishbone. And Tim Welch alternating at fullback with Crosswhite carried on the play. An isolated view of number 79, Rich Glover.
As we went on the air, we had the same picture you're seeing here, Brahaney against Glover. Glover is right on the line of scrimmage, and he is so strong. His legs are so compact, and he is able to come up underneath the center, throw him back, and move to the ball.
Now for Oklahoma with 1:09 to go in the first quarter, 3rd and 3.
He's got it!
And it appears that Tim Welch, the sophomore fullback, is close to the first down. There it is. Branch and Glover make the tackle, but not before Welch gets the Oklahoma first down, sustaining this drive. 7-3 with a punt return of 72 yards by Johnny Rogers, the Nebraska touchdown at 11:28 of the first, and then a 30-yard field goal by Carroll of Oklahoma. So from the 43, Jack Mildren sneaks away. Jim Branch was one of the players in on him, along with Larry Jacobson from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and Bob Terrio. Ball is at the 49 of Nebraska.
Defensively, when you're keying on the backs and you have a halfback set to play the quarterback, if he comes clean and he misses the tackle, you're in deep trouble. That's what happened that time.
2nd down and 2 from the Nebraska 49. And getting close to the first down and losing the ball, picked up by number 18, Jim Anderson. But apparently the play, let's see what the call is. It appears that the fumble was recovered, could not be advanced.
Correct, Chris. We were talking about this before the game. Oklahoma handling the ball close to the line of scrimmage is a high-risk offense. Pruitt gets the ball here from Mildren, but as he gets it, he takes 1 or 2 steps and is hit. The ball drops out. LaHawk making the recovery, and Oklahoma has turned over the ball 1 time.
From the 46 now, Nebraska, 1st and 10. Time running out in the first quarter, 15 seconds to go. Nebraska leads 7-3. Taggy to Olds. Olds, the powerful fullback, moves to the 48 of Oklahoma. Kenny Pope was in on the tackle for the Oklahoma defense at the 48-yard line, which, of course, will now bring up a 2nd down and 4, but time may have run out in the first period of play. At the end of the first quarter, ladies and gentlemen, the score, Nebraska 7, Oklahoma 3.
What kind of tires can drive down a snow-covered mountain? Dig in and stop fast on hard-packed snow. Or with studs, even stop on glare ice. The answer? Sears Dynaglass Ice and Snow Tires with the exclusive traction groove down the center. They go in snow, stop in snow, stop on ice. Dynaglass Ice and Snow Tires for front and rear wheels. Only at Sears.
The battery in this car is virtually brand new. The battery in this car is 2 years old. Now, after the lights have been on for almost 4 hours, now let's see which car starts. The one with the 2-year-old battery. A 2-year-old Sears Die-Hard. The Die-Hard, with extra power to start your car when most batteries won't. Sold only at Sears.
For the last 7 years of high school and college, Oklahoma senior Jack Mildren has starred on the field and in the classroom. He enjoys the challenges of both, yet keeps both in proper perspective.
Sometimes I think maybe the college athlete has a problem in the fact that he is looked upon as maybe an athlete student rather than a student athlete. By this, I mean he's totally aware, 100% involved in his football surroundings with 0% involvement in just the school surroundings. And of course, the athlete needs to be able to draw a medium in the fact that he is greatly concerned with his football team, you know, and because this is one reason that he is at college, but really the main reason that an athlete gets a chance to go to college is to be like everyone else and to get a college degree. And we're hopeful at Oklahoma that most of our guys are trying to reach out, become a part of the student body and becoming student athletes rather than athlete students.
Jack Mildren of Oklahoma is just another example of the type of student athlete who participates in college football today. Two teams, numbers 1 and 2 in the nation. Nebraska averaging 39 points a game, Oklahoma 45. As we go into the second quarter, it's Nebraska leading 7-3 with a 2nd and 4 at the Oklahoma 48. Jerry Taggy. Taggy has waltzed right back to midfield. Number 43 is co-captain Steve Aycock from Midland, Texas, and we have Aycock isolated. Let's watch him.
He's the middle linebacker, moving down the line with Taggy. Shaking Dumler off, and as Taggy kept the ball to turn upfield, Aycock meets him at the crossroads, stops him cold.
Now a measurement for Nebraska first down. 14 Taggy in white. 88 for Oklahoma is Bruce Deloney of Oklahoma City. And they missed the first down by a few inches. Oklahoma with 4 first downs. Nebraska is looking for its first down of the game, but they did have a 72-yard punt return for the touchdown. Here it is. They get it. Jerry Taggy of Green Bay, Wisconsin, a senior quarterback, 6'2", 215 pounds, gets more than enough as the ball is dead at the Oklahoma 44. First down.
The first quarter statistics, great tribute to the Oklahoma defense, holding Nebraska to 25 total yards. Oklahoma making 96 total yards, and Oklahoma keeping possession of the ball, but the great punt return by Johnny Rogers is the difference, with Nebraska leading 7-3.
And a double wing formation with Frosty Anderson split wide to the far side from the 44, first down. Nebraska with the ball. Taggy. Taggy throwing deep to Rogers. Rogers covered on the play by Steve O'Shaughnessy, number 18. And let me tell you, Taggy threw that ball about 60 yards in the air. This Saturday, on ABC, an exciting college football tripleheader. Army versus Navy from Philadelphia at 1 o'clock. Then, a battle of the unbeatens. Auburn versus Alabama from Birmingham at 4 p.m. Then at 7, it's the Kodak All-America Show, featuring the top 24 players as selected by the Football Coaches Association. 2nd down and 10 for Nebraska at the 44 of Oklahoma. 7-3 the score, Nebraska. Nice fake by Taggy. Flips it then at the last moment to Kenny. Little action in the backfield that time, Bud.
They had all of the fakes. He started down the line, and when Rogers comes over the ball, believe me, that makes the defense pay very sharp attention. Good execution of the option by Taggy also after making a fine fake to Rogers.
So it was a 7-yard gain and brings up a 3rd down and 3 in the choir-like huddle. This is the nation's number 1 team, Nebraska. Cox, 32 to the far side. Coming to the near side, Rogers, and as a slot man to the far side is Kenny. Single setback. He carries the ball and gets the first down. 215-pound junior Bill Olds from Kansas City, Kansas. First down. 2nd of the game for Nebraska, and we're in the second quarter with 13:59 to go. For those of you that just joined us, it's 7-3, Nebraska leading.
Aycock again, the middle linebacker, moving away from the Nebraska center, Dumler, and then coming back in. But when you're moving laterally and the ball carrier is moving ahead, usually the ball carrier wins the battle and knocks the linebacker back.
From the slot eye, Taggy fakes and throws down the middle. Looked to be Woody Cox, number 32. Wait till we see the jersey. Correction, it's number 20, Johnny Rogers.
Chris, that's one of the best executions. Here's the pass, and Hamilton really put the rush on Taggy. He was not blocked at all on the play. Taggy stood in there and threw that perfect strike.
Johnny Rogers, who had caught 45 passes coming into the game, 10 touchdowns by way of passing and 5 by way of running. He's got 1 touchdown today on a punt return. First and 10 from the 19 now. Slot I again, Taggy. And mixing up the plays to both sides of the field. Derlin Moore, number 97, in on the tackle for the Oklahoma defense that is really being tested now as this drive started at the Nebraska 46 as Pruitt fumbled the ball.
And Nebraska is making about 5 or 6 yards on first down each time. And when you come in there second down and 5 or second down and 4, it really puts all of the pressure on the defense.
And the drive being sustained keeps the ball away from the nation's #1 offense. On 2nd and 5, Jeff Kinney of McCook, Nebraska, number 35, stopped. Bruce Deloney, one of the players, along with number 66, Lionel Day of Houston, Texas. Play is stopped at the 12-yard line, so it'll be 3rd down and 3. 3rd and 3. 7-3 the score, Nebraska leading, coming up to the 12-minute mark of the first half. Nebraska in white, Oklahoma, if you're watching in color, in the crimson jerseys. The slot I again to the near side of the field. What faking by Taggy.
Strong, Chris. For a quarterback, 6'2", 215 pounds. He runs like a tailback.
There he is with part of his jersey torn. But nevertheless, he carried the ball to the 5 of Oklahoma. Many banners here at Owen Field in Norman. The sun trying to peek through again. 1st and goal now for the Cornhuskers. And Jeff Kinney carried on the play. Kenny, the #1 rusher for the Cornhuskers with 807 yards and 12 touchdowns, gets it down to about the 1.
Fine job of checking signals again by Taggy. He'll automatic at the line of scrimmage about half the time. He picked the hole there.
This drive started at the Nebraska 46. Second and goal. Jeff Kinney, touchdown, Nebraska, 13-3. And for Kinney, it's his 13th touchdown of the year. The senior from McCool, Nebraska. Keith Wardman and Al Austin blocking on the right side of the line, helping him to get an up and over play. Touchdown came at 11:09 of the 2nd quarter.
And that drive typical of Nebraska, moving out with a great combination of pass run.
54 yards, 12 plays. Rich Sanger to try for the point after. Taggy holding up and good. This is NCAA college football with timeout the score. Nebraska 14, Oklahoma 3.
Now's an ideal time to get ready for your next trip because Chevrolet is offering a luggage rack at no charge. Here are the details. Buy or order a Chevrolet or Chevelle wagon before December 31st. You'll get a luggage rack at no charge when you order any radio equipment, soft ray tinted glass, white striped tires, outside remote control mirror, plus power tailgate on the Chevrolet wagon or power tailgate window on the Chevelle 2-seat wagon. Under the luggage racks are a lot of good reasons why your next wagon should be a Chevrolet. Like the unique vanishing tailgate on the big Chevrolet wagon, and the walk-in convenience of the mid-size Chevelle wagon with the 2-way tailgate. See your Chevrolet dealer about this luggage rack offer. Chevrolet wants your new wagon to be the best one you ever owned.
On the near side, you see Greg Pruitt, number 30 on the far side. Joe Wiley awaiting the Nebraska kick by Rich Sanger, following a 54-yard drive. And on the 12th play, Jeff Kinney went from the 1 to get the touchdown of the ball game, an earned one, indeed, against the Oklahoma defense. The other Nebraska touchdown was on a 72-yard punt return by Johnny Rogers. Oklahoma on a 30-yard field goal. It's 14-3. There you see the ball teed up with the wind to their back. Slinger's kick comes, and it's looked at by Greg Pruitt. And incidentally, with the sun out, you look right into the sun as Pruitt was trying to field the ball.
And here's the scoring play, climaxing the Nebraska 54-yard drive. Shaggy turning, giving the ball to Kinney as Olds leads him into the line. Kinney up and over into the end zone for the score.
And in order for Oklahoma to win today, their offense has to keep trying to puncture the Nebraska defense. Nothing held back today, and let's see what the Sooners can do now. 1st and 10 from the 20. Mildren on the wishbone. But as Mildren saw the defensive moves unfolding, he flipped out to Pruitt, but Jim Anderson, number 18 of Nebraska, was not fooled.
Theoretically, you can move the ball with the running play no matter what the defense is doing, but Nebraska is closing their 4 secondary men, Mason, Kosh, Blaha, and Anderson, so quickly that I believe Oklahoma's going to have to hit some passes if they're going to move against this great Nebraska defense.
2nd down and 10 from the 20. And there's Leon Crosswhite, who injured himself earlier, but is back in. Blahak made the tackle at the 45, make it the 44, as Leon Crosswhite went 22 yards and a 1st down.
Glover has been giving Brahaney a bad time, but here he goes with the movement of Mildren. Brahaney really stays with him, and here goes Crosswhite.
And on this next play, 1st and 10 from the 44, the Sooners get up near midfield, trailing 14-3, coming up to the 10-minute mark of the first half. Mildren, carrying the ball, comes up to the 49, so it'll be 2nd down and 5 as Blahak and Jansen make the tackle. The ball actually between the hash marks, 48 and 49. Oklahoma on the left. Harrison stuck to the near side. And they just keep trying with that rushing aspect of the wishbone. Crosswhite again, stalled by Bob Terrio.
Same play that Crosswhite broke a moment ago, but this time Terrio does not overrun it. Watch him, number 45. Instead of overrunning it, he closes and is right on the tackle. Beautiful form. Shoulder in, legs apart, good balance, leg drive.
Dutton is in at tackle, replacing Jansen on 3rd and 5 from the 49. Jack Mildren gets the 1st down. One of the beauties of the wishbone unfolding is Blahak and Branch make the stop at the Nebraska 44.
One of the reasons Oklahoma has moved the ball so well all year is that the back that the quarterback fakes to then becomes a blocking back. And Crosswhite, after faking to the ball, can go in and block. The lead halfbacks, Pruitt and Wiley, block exceptionally well, and the timing of where they are in relationship to the ball is very tough for the defense.
From the 44 of Nebraska, 1st down, Oklahoma. Crosswhite angling off across the 40. A moment ago, you saw the Texas A&M score. Texas leading 28-0. It appears that Texas will be going into the Cotton Bowl, and that means the Liberty Bowl to be seen on ABC December 20th, the night of the 20th. It'll be Tennessee, Arkansas. Great battle. And the Sugar Bowl features Oklahoma and Auburn. So now from the 39, after a 5-yard gain, 2nd and 5. And Pruitt meets a group of Cornhuskers.
He's a great runner, one of the most effective men in college football, but if there is no room to run, Chris, almost all the backs look alike.
And there you see the yardage situation. 3rd down. The ball is at the 37. 3rd down, and let's call it 3. Nebraska leading 14-3 with 7:44 to go in the first half. Mildren, 1st down for Oklahoma. And boy, when things do break with the wishbone, they happen in a hurry.
What he did was just juke him with the fake of the pitch. He turned upfield. 2 men could have made the tackle. I believe that it was Mason and Kosh coming in on him. but that little bit of the fake of the pitch to Pruitt, and they ignored Mildren as he cut between them.
An effective runner, as you saw. He's an adequate passer, a boy with quick hands and feet, and he has, in most cases, made the correct decisions under pressure. And there's the stiffest pressure that anybody could face in the Nebraska defense out here this afternoon. 1st and 10 at the 25 of Nebraska, Oklahoma with the ball. Harrison, 12, at the bottom of your screen. But that is just beautifully executed. Glover, 79, 27, Blahak.
And this is the quarterback counter that Oklahoma has not run so far this year. Mildren will make a quick fake to the right of your screen, and Glover will move with the first fake, and Mildren simply slips out around, and that fake helped Rahaney's block as he turned Glover very effectively here.
Boy, 2 All-Americans, 54 in the red jersey, Brahaney of Oklahoma, 79, Glover.
The crowd's cheering, Chris, but if I were Chuck Fairbanks, I'd rather been a foot short and had one more down.
All right. The ball is at the 15 of Nebraska. First down, and we have 7:03 to go in the first half. 14-3, Nebraska leading. The number 2 team in the nation, Oklahoma, with the ball.
The reason I said that, of course, is they're on the 15-yard line. If they get more snaps to get it in, they're more likely to get it there.
Mildren giving to Crosswhite. Crosswhite, 6'2", 203 pounds, is stopped by Branch, 51. Bob Terrio is out of the lineup. Number 45, having sprained his knee, Pat Morrell, number 40, is in there at the moment, but we get word that Terrio will be back. So the ball is near the 10. Oklahoma with a 2nd down and 6. Leon Crosswhite, the junior from Hennessy, Oklahoma, blows right down to the 5-yard line.
And the way the Oklahoma offense is using Pruitt now as a back to fake to is setting up the inside plays for Crosswhite. They're worried, Nebraska, logically about Pruitt because he is the game breaker.
Number 45, Terrio, the linebacker, is in there again. And by the way, a great block by Ken Jones of Omaha, the right guard. On the last play, as we have a 1st and goal to go at the 5 for Oklahoma. Jack Mildren had a little bit of a head start, but Terrio, 45, was at his back, along with 25, Dave Mason. And one more, number 90, John Dutton, a sophomore from Rapid City, South Dakota. As you see the situation here in the first half, clock running, 5:32, 14-3, Nebraska leading. And here is a 2nd down and goal to go. Let's call it the 2. Oklahoma started this drive at their own 20, trying to cap an 80-yard march. 13th play of this drive coming up. There it is. Just waltzes in. Jack Mildren of the Sooners.
And some block by Crosswhite.
Wasn't it beautiful? His 14th touchdown rushing. He is nearing the 1,000-yard rushing mark. The quarterback, Jack Mildren.
Averaging 6.3 per attempt coming into this game.
So now it is 14-9, and a big point after coming up. We see Carroll, number 10. 80 yards, 13 plays. Carroll, 42 of 50 on the point after. Puts this one through the uprights. So what a game to decide which team is number 1 in the nation. As ABC's exclusive coverage of the game of the year will continue with the score. Nebraska 14, Oklahoma 10. Let's pause for a moment.
You know, wherever you travel in America, It's reassuring to know there are thousands of Texaco service stations throughout all 50 states with Texaco products you can trust and Texaco conveniences for people on the road. I mean the restrooms. Restrooms that Texaco is doing its best to make sure are clean and neat. Something a lady really appreciates.
A very spectacular 80-yard scoring drive in 13 plays with the quarterback rushing the ball into the end zone, Bud.
Right after I had said, Chris, that I thought Oklahoma would need to throw some passes in order to loosen up the Nebraska defense if they were going to score.
That's all right. There he is, Mildren. Jeff Kinney and Johnny Rogers are deep as John Carroll will now kick into the wind for Oklahoma. It's 14-10 with 5:10 to go. Woo! There's one right in the belly. Number 50, Doug Jamail of Bel Air, Texas, got that one right at the belt.
And centers are not supposed to be able to handle the ball that way.
If past performance is any guide, today's battle will not end in a tie. Each of these Big 8 conference powers has played only 2 ties over the last 18 regular seasons, a total of only 4 ties in their last 361 regular season games. I don't think there will be a tie. 2 great teams now from the 47. Nebraska with the ball. Oh, and what a move Johnny Rogers put on the defensive backs as Taggy was rushed hard and then decked on the play. There's Rogers, number 20.
Let's watch the dual isolation here, and you can see why Taggy was not able to hit Rogers. Rogers on the left of the screen, and here comes Hamilton on Taggy. You can see him moving in. Rogers is obviously open. And the pass is almost on target. That was Selman who put the big rush on.
Second down and 10 now for Nebraska at their own 47. They lead 14-10 in the closing moments of the first half. To Damkroger. Maury Damkroger, a sophomore fullback, relieving Bill Olds, is finally forced out of bounds by Steve O'Shaughnessy. And the play carries into Oklahoma territory to the 43.
And the great balance of the Nebraska offense. If you're rushing their passer, you're vulnerable to the draw play, you're vulnerable to the screen.
It's a first down for the Cornhuskers.
As we mentioned earlier, Chris, Oklahoma's going to go ahead and force all of the time. This Nebraska offense is so consistent, they're so free of errors that you are not going to have the ball yourself unless you really pour in there and try to get after them.
Oklahoma with 172 total yards, more than the average that Nebraska has given up thus far on the season. So from the 43, Nebraska with a first and 10. Johnny Rogers going to throw, the former quarterback. There was a collision between Woody Cox and Larry Roach.
And if this game were played in Lincoln, Nebraska, you'd hear a lot more noise than you're hearing here in Norman, Oklahoma. Let's take a look at it again. Okay, was O'Shaughnessy going against Cox. And you can see that Roach was playing the ball, so it was a legal play.
So, first pass attempted by Johnny Rogers today, incomplete. Second and 10 at the 43. Rolling out all stops for victory here this afternoon. And there's Jeff Kinney. One of his favorite plays. And he moved the ball near the 40 as Bruce Deloney, number 88 for the Oklahoma defense, makes the stop at the 39, a 4-yard gain. It'll be third down and 6.
And 4:28 remaining. Oklahoma can stop them here. There is time for them if they can put another drive together.
They put in another back. Jeff Nordgren is in, replacing Deloney. The Oklahoma defense on 3rd and 6, anticipating a pass. Let's watch. Taggy. Wide open and couldn't hang on to the ball. Number 85, Jerry List of Bay City, Michigan. So that brings up a 4th down and 6. A Nebraska punting situation with 4:06 to go in the first half.
Let's watch the play again. Woody Cox going down the field. He's going against O'Shaughnessy here. He is past O'Shaughnessy as Terry Roach comes over. Now watch, Roach will be looking back for the ball as Cox is looking back for the ball, and Cox will now stumble over Roach. But both men are playing the ball. Both fall. No foul on the play.
One of the Sooner defenders shaken up, and that was John Shelley. And there is a big loss to the deep secondary of Oklahoma. We have a timeout at Owen Field in Norman, where the score is Nebraska 14, Oklahoma 10.
State Farm agent Bob Warnke lives in Cozad, Nebraska. It seems that everyone in town knows Bob. He's making a career out of helping them. He'll be there to help you, too, if your car's insured by State Farm and you run into trouble in Cozad. If you run into trouble somewhere else, just check the yellow pages.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. State Farm is there.
What would you say if I offered you a Tipperillo?
What would you say if I took it?
Do you think there'll really be a lady president?
Lady president? No. Woman president.
What do you think of the idea of skirts getting longer?
I'm not sure if I like the idea of skirts.
Tipperillo, maybe we started something.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's either the highest tribute to the wind that I've ever seen, or they perhaps will fake a field goal attempt and pass. But nevertheless, Nebraska's kicker, Sanger, is out, and there's the wind which is coming across his back. Here's an attempt of 56.25 yards.
Well, Oklahoma's expecting to fake. There's no one back to handle the kick if it's short.
But they gave it the good old college try. $5 can go a long way, all the way to Munich, Germany, as America's finest young athletes prepare for the 1972 Summer Games. You can help by sending $5 to the Olympic House, Box BA, 57 Park Avenue, New York, New York. And in return, you'll receive a new colorful embroidered Olympic Games emblem for your jacket or hat. So help our young men and women as they head to Munich for the great Summer Games to be televised by ABC. So now from the 20-yard line, Oklahoma trailing by 4. First and 10 from the 20. 4 minutes to go, first half. Greg Pruitt carrying on the play. Dave Mason helping on the tackle. Nebraska in the white jerseys on the right. He was joined by Jim Branch. I have a bit of advice for you housewives, mothers, and girlfriends. Tell your sons and husbands not to switch dials at halftime, because we have two great bands that'll be entertaining. The Cornhusker Band and the great band of Oklahoma. Second down and 8 from the 22. Carrying was Mildren, and Glover was right there.
Glover is really a remarkable football player. He lines up right on the center. He's going on the slant charge here. He almost overran it as he tried to penetrate, and watch his lateral speed as he moves back in to tackle Mildren.
10 tackles thus far and 3 assists for Glover. With the ball at the 26, less than 3 minutes remaining. It's 3rd and 4 for Oklahoma. A beautiful block screening Mildren. Welsh threw a great block. And it's a first down for Oklahoma as Blahak makes the tackle at the 39.
And once again, the blocking of the backs and the wishbone are the key to making the offense go.
Getting the blocking back in the football, but it's sort of pleasant to see, isn't it?
Does a lot for the morale of the linemen when they know that the backs are blocking also.
Now the ball is at the 39 of Oklahoma. Time running out in the first half. They trail 14-10 with the 1st and 10. Let's watch. Nice converging by Glover again, number 79, and one other Sooner when he gets up, and we see it's Bob Terrio who's shaking off his bruises to get back into the defensive unit of Nebraska. The play stopped at the 43. That's a 4-yard gain, so it'll be 2nd down and 6.
They're going to have to break it for bigger yardage than that if they're going to score before time runs out.
Harrison set at the bottom of your screen. And lofting one out. It is number 82, Albert Chandler, beating Joe Blahak in the battle for the ball. And that play went from the 43 of Oklahoma to the 35 of Nebraska.
Let's look at it again. There's the inside fake by Wiley. And the beautiful throw by Mildren. He was well covered.
Minute 48 to go in the first half, 14-10, Oklahoma trailing. Good faking by Mildren, giving it to Tim Welsh. A loose ball, Nebraska recovers.
Before the game, Chris, we were talking about what would be the key to victory, and we
right there
made the point.
Glover.
Well, we made the point really that Oklahoma's offense was a high-risk offense because they move along the line of scrimmage, handle the ball close to the line of scrimmage, and if they fumbled the ball and lost it more than 2 or 3 times, it would be awfully hard to beat a team as consistent and error-free as Nebraska. That's the second time Oklahoma has lost the ball by fumbles.
Recovered by Rich Glover with a 1st and 10 from the 27. Taggy once more. Bruce Deloney, the senior defensive end. Let's see that fumble recovery again.
Glover taking on Brahaney, moving back, finding the ball. Crosswhite had a good gain on the play, about 8 yards. Glover pursuing, and as the ball pops free, Glover moves in to make the recovery.
And to think that Glover is a junior at the University of Nebraska.
6'1", 234, great leg strength, arm strength, and remarkable speed.
There's his coach, Bob Devaney. Tonight on ABC at 8 o'clock, it's Georgia versus Georgia Tech. And a highlight at halftime will be the Downtown Athletic Club's announcement of the Heisman Trophy winner for 1971. That's tonight on ABC. 2nd down, and let's call it 10. From about the 27-yard line with 1:28 to go in the first half. Nebraska leading 14-10. Rogers to the far side. Cox to the near side. Dan Kroger, number 46, charging out to the 35. Not enough for the first down. Albert Qualls and Steve Aycock, the linebackers to this side of the field, make the stop at the 35-yard line. So it'll be a 3rd down and 2. 1:22 to go, first half. Shelley is back in the defensive alignment for Oklahoma.
And Chuck Fairbanks is breathing a little easier.
There is Chuck Fairbanks. Woody Cox and Rogers to the far side of the field, 3rd and 2. And a loose ball after being denied a first down where the play was stopped. Now let's see where the officials mark it.
They had called it dead, Chris, before the fumble, and he was short of the first down.
All right. So in comes the kicker for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Jeff Hughes, a native of Burlington, Vermont. And he'll have the wind to his back as we have 1 minute to go in the first half. And let's see what players. Chuck Fairbanks, he sends Joe Wiley, a fine kick returner, back deep, along with number 18, Steve O'Shaughnessy, number 19, Jeff Nordgren.
And this is the one time you certainly do not want your kicker to outkick his coverage.
Chuck Fairbanks. Doug Dumler will snap the ball to Jeff Hughes with 1 minute exactly on the clock here to the south end of the field, Norman, Oklahoma, about 20 miles from Oklahoma City. And it's a quiet town of 60,000, but it hasn't been quiet this past week, anticipating this battle. Here's the kick by Hughes. The punt is on its way. Joe Wiley, a junior, couldn't make his moves and is stopped at the 22. 51 seconds left in the first half as Dick Rupert, the left guard, made the tackle. This program is being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds for local station identification. Don't forget, coming up after 51 seconds on the clock have elapsed, 2 great bands and the 2 universities will perform. You'll enjoy it. Mildren calls his own number. And Blahak comes up to make the stop. John Atkins joined Blahak on the play at the 27-yard line. So it'll now be a 2nd down and 5. And we look at the clock. It's stopped with 33 seconds to go, Bud.
And Oklahoma has just used their first timeout. They'll have 2 remaining, but it's awfully hard, Chris, with this offense to break the long gainer. It's not a good come-from-behind offense because you can give teams short yardage on running plays.
Tomorrow on ABC, NBA professional basketball premieres. That's at 2 Eastern Time as the Baltimore Bullets take on the Atlanta Hawks. That's tomorrow here on ABC. Then Saturday, an exciting football doubleheader. Army-Navy from Philadelphia at 1 Eastern Time. Then a battle of the unbeatens, Auburn and Alabama from Birmingham. That game starts at 4 p.m., and Bud, we look forward to heading for Birmingham to cover that one as number 3 ranked Alabama, number 5 ranked Auburn. And another Heisman Trophy contender, Pat Sullivan, will be pitching to All-American Terry Beasley. And Johnny Musso, of course, will be carrying the ball for the Crimson Tide. And on the basketball doubleheader, we look forward to the commentary of Hall of Fame basketball great, formerly the Boston Celtics, Bill Russell. Jack Mildren, number 11, calling signals now with a 2nd down and 5 from his own 27-yard line. 33 seconds to go, first half, trailing 14-10. Joe Wiley, number 22, coming up near a first down. 29 seconds, as you see.
It's very easy to close on any kind of ball carrying plays.
Clock running, first down play. Mildren looking to throw, loops one out. It's coming in the area of Harrison. He has it. Harrison, as a helmet goes shooting out. The defender, number 24, Bill Cush, lost the helmet, and the play goes to the 24-yard line of Nebraska.
Let's look at it again. There was a great inside running fake here. Harrison just drifting down the field, then turning it on. Pope went back, didn't quite see the ball. Overran it. That's Kosh overrunning it.
1st and 10 with the clock running, and there is a touchdown, Oklahoma, John Harrison.
I wouldn't believe that, Chris.
What a game. 5 seconds left as we'll have the try for the point by John Carroll. It's up and it's good.
Number 12. This is Harrison going downfield, and he clearly beats Kosh here. Mildren, after the running fake, put it perfectly on target. Mildren is 4 of 6 for this afternoon.
An academic All-American. As we have 5 seconds left on the clock, John Carroll's kick. He tried to make it go 10 yards in an onside attempt. It went 10, but we have Nebraska's Dick Rupert, it appears, over the ball. Time all year that Nebraska has been behind the nation's number 1 ranked team. They're now near midfield with a 1st and 10. As Taggy wants to get a touchdown, he throws it. Really reared back and let go. Took it for Johnny Rogers. Delirious, hysterical Sooner fans as we look at the Sooner Schooner with 2 identical Shetland ponies named Boomer and Sooner, pulling it across the tartan turf here on a very colorful afternoon, and one which we hope you're enjoying and adding to your Thanksgiving Day. A great halftime of entertainment coming up. The score here at Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma is Oklahoma 17, Nebraska 14.
This is Joel Aldred for General Motors. Did you know that the single largest cause of highway fatalities is drunk driving? That's why General Motors is experimenting with an accident avoidance device to help keep people from driving if drunk or drugged. It's called a physiological tester because it tests a driver's responses before he can start his car. The driver must match a set of figures which flash on and off. A driver with impaired responses usually can't do it, even though he gets 3 tries. But if his responses are normal, he can readily match the figures which appear and can then start his car. It's an experiment at present, but GM plans to provide 50 to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration for evaluation by the government. Please, don't drive if you're not in good shape. Everybody wants to do something about highway safety. General Motors is doing it.
See George Plimpton, the great quarterback sneak, tomorrow night.
Something new, something borrowed, and something blue. The Cornhusker Marching Band is coming onto the field right now as the halftime has reached us with Oklahoma out in front 17-14 in one great football game here on Thanksgiving Day. Right now, the Cornhusker Band coming on with the Birth of the Blues as the theme song. The featured learner is Miss Diane Tangman, you're watching right now. 188 marching men under the direction of Professor Jack R. Snyder. This is a medley of blues tunes embracing something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. And after the birth of the blues, we'll have that great W.C. Handy number, the St. Louis Blues. Has sold more records than perhaps any other popular or serious piece of music down through the years. And of course, it's an oldie, but one that we always get a kick out of hearing, especially when played by one of the outstanding university bands. Here's the St. Louis Blues. And we thank you, the card section, with our salute to ABC. And really, it's a fantastic 3 days of our sports spectacular here, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on ABC. And we hope you're with us during this holiday weekend. Cornhusker Marching Band playing the St. Louis Blues. And now a little more modern updating of blues tunes, one that the current generation gets a real kick out of, and that's the Swinging Shepherd Blues. And now the Cornhusker marching band will move into a number borrowed from New Orleans. And I'm sure you don't need anybody to tell you that this is going to be the Basin Street Blues. And a reminder here, of course, that ABC will be in New Orleans on New Year's Day for some real Basin Street Blues in the game, in the Sugar Bowl game. And there you see the Sugar Bowl being put up in the card section. And that should be quite a contest between Oklahoma leading Nebraska in this game 17-14 at halftime, and Auburn. In case you can't read it, that's Pruitt for president. Well, he'd have quite a cabinet, too, with Mildred and the rest of them. Well, that was the Basin Street Blues. And now, when we move into Gershwin's number, we hear Rhapsody in Blue. And there is Miss Diane Tagman, the solo twirler of the University of Nebraska Cornhusker Marching Band. Rhapsody in Blue. And a band in the form of a grand piano. Don't touch your set. It's just a reflection off a horn. I believe that's a roast turkey that we're looking at up in the card section. The Nebraska-Oklahoma game is being brought to you by Tijuana Smalls. 10 small cigars, and you don't have to inhale them to like them. By Texaco, and the many thousands of Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. Trust Texaco to have the right gasoline for your car. By State Farm Mutual. Almost anywhere you drive, there's a State Farm agent nearby. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Chevrolet, building a better way to see the USA. Well, as the concluding number, naturally, Bye Bye Blues. And as the Cornhusker marching band leaves the field, let's say a word more about Nebraska. The Nebraska team, which you are watching, represents the Lincoln campuses of the University of Nebraska. More than 21,000 students are enrolled this year at Nebraska State University and land-grant college. In 1869, the legislature of the New Prairie State chartered this institution. A few years after its founding, NU launched the first program of graduate study in any public institution west of the Mississippi River. And soon after the turn of the century, the University of Nebraska was invited to join the Association of American Universities. This organization now numbers 48 member schools, which have been selected for membership on the basis of high-quality faculty. This, then, is the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, one of the great educational institutions of mid-America. an artist, apparently, sketching this great scene here today, and certainly it is a scene, a classic football game, and we have seen really a great 30 minutes, and we anticipate another great 30 minutes. In case you joined us late, and I hope you did, Oklahoma has come from behind to lead Nebraska 17-14, and that's what he was sketching. Mr. Gene Thrailkill, in his first year as director of the Pride of Oklahoma, directing the 144 students in the University of Oklahoma Pride of Oklahoma Band, and the number being played is New World Coming. This is a Love and Peace halftime performance. The blueprint for tomorrow, full of promises and hopes for a better society. And the selections to be heard will all have that theme around them. Let's listen. Now in block formation. It's the latest rock and jazz selections. It's the now sound that's of the Oklahoma Band. A bit of a departure, a streamlining, a modernization, if you will, of bands. So, with the jazz rock selection, we move on to Love and Peace. This is one of the twirlers, Jeannie Tyler, and Michelle Perry is the other. Believe it or not, those are machetes. Big knives. Now, after the selection of Love and Peace, the band marches to a block formation and A New World Coming. Now the band will perform a dance routine to a selection made popular by the Fifth Dimension. People Just Gotta Be Free. Utilizing many moves of the popular dances of the day, the band shows why their routines have been accepted so enthusiastically by the Oklahoma fans. So people just gotta be free. There are two twirlers, the East twirler, Jeannie Tyler, the West, Michelle Perry. That's Michelle on the right, Jeannie on the left. And I want to tell you, they worked out here yesterday afternoon for about 2.5 hours, much longer than either of the football teams. People Just Gotta Be Free, the selection by University of Oklahoma Marching Band, called the Pride of Oklahoma. Now the Battle Hymn of the Republic is heard softly as the band performs a halftime drill. As the music grows in intensity, the strains of New World Coming and United We Stand will be heard in the high brass as the low brass maintains the strains of Battle Hymn. And then the band will move to the sidelines as the final strains of the selection are heard. So we recognize the popular rhythm of Save the Country by the entire band. This is quite a number. Pride of Oklahoma, the marching band of the University of Oklahoma under the direction of Mr. Gene Trailfield. As the Sooners come out onto the field, let's say a word about the University of Oklahoma. Academic excellence is a proud tradition at the University of Oklahoma. The university ranks third among state-supported colleges in production of Rhodes Scholars. The University of Oklahoma Medical Center in Oklahoma City not only trains physicians to meet the ever-increasing demand for doctors, leads the way in medical research. The university operates the Oklahoma Center for Continuing Education, one of America's foremost adult education centers. The University of Oklahoma Research Institute shares the talent and facilities of the university and its personnel with government and business by coordinating research efforts. Its facilities, its faculty, its students, its alumni, and its tradition make the University of Oklahoma one of the nation's finest centers of higher education. Halftime and music are over, and coming up next, the second half, and the score here at Owen Field is Oklahoma 17, Nebraska 14.
What you said.
We're on our way down the road, we're breathing free now, traveling with our comforts close at hand. Winnebago's always ready, stopping any place we find, leaving all our cares behind.
A record-breaking crowd of 63,385, most ever to see a game here in Norman, Oklahoma. Along with you, we'll look at number 20, Johnny Rogers, who has scored one touchdown for Nebraska on a punt return of 72 yards, joined by Jeff Kenny deep, as Nebraska has chosen to defend the goal to the left here at the start of the third quarter, so they'll have the wind to their back during the fourth quarter. So the kick by Oklahoma's John Carroll, with the wind aiding, goes right through the end zone.
And let's look at the two pass plays that set up the Oklahoma touchdown. They got the ball with only 50 seconds remaining on the clock. This is Harrison, Oklahoma's wide receiver. Mildren made a good inside running fake. It's a long ball, overrun just slightly by Bill Kosh of Nebraska. Harrison making the catch.
78 yards in 4 plays to take the lead. Now Nebraska with Jerry Taggy from their own 20, first and 10. It goes to Kenny, a bruising runner. And that's what we mean.
It's the first time that they've popped anything off the I formation all afternoon. Let's look at the touchdown that gave Oklahoma the lead just before the half. This is Harrison, a little inside fake. Again, a great running fake by Mildren, and then an absolutely on-target pass. Again, beating Kosh. Harrison scoring to give Oklahoma the lead.
22-yard gain. It's first and 10 around the 42 of Nebraska. A spread formation with a single setback. First down. Taggy. A very sure tackle put on by Mark Driscoll, number 59 from Ponca City, Oklahoma.
And the first half statistics way in favor of Oklahoma. 312 total yards to 91. Nebraska had been averaging 220 yards a half, so they're way below it, 120 some below their normal offensive output. the time of possession in favor of Oklahoma, but the two Oklahoma fumbles recovered by Nebraska have changed the game and kept it very, very close.
2nd down and 12, let's call it. And there is Mr. Kenny again. The number 1 rusher for Nebraska brings it up to the 49 3/4 of Oklahoma. Don't forget, at the end of this game, we'll present the Chevrolet Outstanding Offensive and Defensive Players of the Game. This award represents a $1,000 scholarship to the school scholarship fund on behalf of the winning player.
Bob Devaney, Chris, before the game, thought Oklahoma defensed the I formation awfully well, and he didn't think they'd run much inside. And not having done so in the first half, they're coming with it in the second.
3rd down and 3 now at midfield, and an early move by the left guard, number 77, Dick Rupert of Los Angeles, California.
Nebraska is one of the most error-free college football teams I have ever seen. That's the first mistake that they have made today. They have not fumbled, no interception, no penalties. Until right now.
All right, so the ball comes back the 5 yards. The referee, Vance Carlson. In the backfield now, 5 backs for the Oklahoma defense. Roach, Nordgren, Shelley, Pope, and O'Shaughnessy. As we have a 3rd down and 8. And the ball at about the 45 of Nebraska. Slot eye, Taggy. Pass blocking fine, but not from behind, however. Number 88, Deloney was the first to get there. Then he's joined by Lucius Selman, a sophomore, number 98. So it brings up a 4th down at the 38 of Nebraska following a 7-yard loss. 4th down and 15 with Oklahoma leading 17-14.
And a tough punt into the strong wind coming from the right of the screen.
Jeff Hughes all set. Back deep is John Shelley. Shelley looking at the ball. It's in the area of the 30. Now going between the 25 and 30. Watched closely by the Nebraska folks. Doug Dumler, he snapped the ball to Hughes, covered it, and it's down at the 29-yard line. So now we look at Oklahoma's front. Chandler, Urim, Emmert, Brahaney, Jones, Jensen, and Harrison. Harrison, who's caught the last touchdown pass, is thrown by Jack Mildren as number 12. There you see the backfield. Bell, 35, is in, replacing Wiley. Pruitt is number 30. Crosswhite is number 17. So from the 29, here are the Sooners. John Harrison to the near side of the field. And Pruitt hasn't been able to get away yet today, number 30.
The attention that Nebraska is giving Pruitt, however, is making it a little easier for the other Oklahoma backs to run. Pruitt has had 7 carries now for 26 yards. His average going into the game was 9.5. He's just barely getting half of that right now.
Nebraska scored first on a 72-yard punt return by Johnny Rogers. Then Oklahoma with a field goal. It's been nip and tuck. 2nd and 7 from the 32. And Leon Crosswhite stopped by guess who?
Let's take a look at him, and it's again Rick Glover. This is the counter play. Supposed to go by him. His slant was to the right side, but he recovered again, knocking Brahaney back, and was right on the ball.
The match today, matching the country's 2 best teams, struggle for supremacy. 3rd and 4 for Oklahoma. And Mildren, the real star for Oklahoma, has carried it across the 42 for a 1st down.
And that quarterback counterplay truly puts the pressure on Glover, the middle guard. If you don't move with the first fake of the backfield, playing middle guard, they're apt to cut you off all the time. And if you do, the quarterback can get back around you quicker than anyone else in the backfield. He's 3.5, 4 yards closer.
The nation's number 1 offense with the ball. Oklahoma going against the nation's number 1 defense, Nebraska. 1st and 10 from the 42. And Mildren again steps it up and loses the ball. The 3rd error by the Oklahoma defense as John Atkins knocked it loose. And number 25, Dave Mason, and number 18, Jim Anderson were there, but Mason covered it. And, Bud, this was one of the points you brought out earlier, that they could not afford to fumble it away.
I didn't think, Chris, if they lost the ball more than 3 times, they could win.
Our Thanksgiving Day coverage of the game of the year between Nebraska and Oklahoma continues after this message. Yes, 2 touchdowns by Nebraska's Johnny Rogers, 1 each. Jeff Kenny 1. Oklahoma has the lead 17-14 with about 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Nebraska recovered a fumble. 1st and 10 at the 47, and Jeff Kinney spins into Oklahoma territory to the 47.
Hit behind the line. Kinney is a man of great balance. He was able to slide right through the first couple of tackles.
There you see the backfield. Taggy 14, Kenny 35, Olds 44, and Johnny Rogers 20. Cox and Rogers 32 and 20 come to the near side of the field. In the slot is Rogers, number 20, on 2nd and 4 from the Oklahoma 47. Kenny, tough man to stop. Gets about 5 yards and an apparent first down as Deloney makes the tackle. 1st and 10 for the Cornhuskers. The Cornhuskers are unbeaten in 29 games, ranked number 1 in the nation. Oklahoma has not lost in 15 games, and the last loss was to Nebraska. There you see 3 fumbles, losing them, Oklahoma. 1st and 10 from the 42, Nebraska. Taggy for about 3 yards as Hamilton comes in to make the play, joined by 97, Derlin Moore. As college football's 103rd season nears its end, athletes in many exciting winter sports are starting to compete. Your favorite college probably has hockey, swimming, wrestling, and basketball. Plan to follow some of the NCAA action in your area during the months ahead. 2nd down and 7 now, with the ball at the 39. Olds, number 44, carrying on the play as Dumler snapped the ball to Taggy. Mark Driscoll comes in on Olds, number 44 in white, joined by Deloney. And the play is at the 35, a gain of 4, so it's going to be 3rd down and 3. Lots of Nebraska fans here today as we have a record-breaking crowd of 63,385. Rogers is flanked to the far side. Cox is split to the near side with Kinney in the slot. Single setback. Taggy gets the first down and more. Jerry Taggy moving his way down inside the 5 as Kenneth Polk forced him out of bounds.
And Nebraska, too, can run the option play. Taggy cutting upfield as Mildren does off the wishbone option and putting Nebraska in scoring position. Let's take a look at it again. Spread formation. Kinney is the wingback. Kinney making a good block right there, which set up the run.
All right, back live, a 1st and goal for the Cornhuskers at the 3 of Oklahoma. Kinney and Olds to the setback. Look at that move. Jeff Kinney pulling away from everyone for a 3-yard touchdown romp. And now it is 20-17 as Nebraska has regained the lead here in the 3rd quarter.
Let's watch Kinney again. It doesn't look like there's any daylight at all. But he finds that crease as Olds makes a beautiful block for him. He hits the safety man and drives right over him, keeping his feet for the touchdown. Here, let's watch it again from the ground level camera. Great block by Olds. There's that hit and spin, and Kinney in the end zone.
Rich Sanger will try for the point after, with Taggy holding. The kick is good. A timeout at Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma, on an overcast afternoon, where the score is Nebraska 21, Oklahoma 17. Back again at Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma, where the Cornhuskers are meeting the Sooners with 8:54 to go. In the 3rd quarter, it's 21-17 as the Cornhuskers went 53 yards in 6 plays, and now will kick into the wind to Joe Wiley, 22, or Greg Pruitt. Pruitt on the far side.
And they'll spin kick it into the wind rather than hanging up in the air short and giving those speed men a chance to make a fine run back.
Here's Sanger moving to the ball. It's hanging in the air, coming up short of the 2 great run back artists. Number 17 for Oklahoma, Crosswhite, the fullback, brings it out to about the 27-yard line, where the Sooners now, trailing after taking the lead and forcing Nebraska to be behind for the first time this year, have the ball. Jack Mildren out on the field.
And the fumble problem is the key problem for Oklahoma's offense. They're moving the ball very well, but the 3 fumbles that they have lost have turned the ball over to Nebraska and kept them from dominating the game offensively.
Jerry Taggy on the phones for Nebraska. Meanwhile, out on the field, Jack Milden for Oklahoma. To the 27, first down, and Crosswhite carries the ball across the 30. Nebraska led at the end of the first quarter, 7-3, on a 72-yard punt return by Johnny Rogers. Oklahoma kicked a 30-yard field goal, John Carroll. And then Jeff Kenny scored for Nebraska, capping a 54-yard drive, but Oklahoma came right back, going 80 yards in 13 plays to make it 14-10. Then Oklahoma scored again. Milden to Harrison to lead at halftime, 17-14. Now we have a second down and 7. Pruitt carrying on the play.
They're certainly giving Pruitt no daylight at all.
And Bud mentioned they, and speaking of they, it's the Nebraska group, which includes 57 Atkins, 75 Jacobson, 45 Terrio, Glover 79, 51 Branch, Jensen 55, Harper 81, Playhawk 27, 25 Mason, Cush 24, and Anderson 18. They're set now as Oklahoma has a third down and 4. The ball between the 30 and 35, and Milden, Willie Harper pinches in from his right defensive end position. And in case of help, Jim Branch, number 51, was there too. So it's a punting situation.
Nebraska correctly anticipating Oklahoma would pass. Harper starting in, pausing, then turning it on. Getting back together with Rigetti of Nebraska. Oklahoma getting the big loss and being forced to punt.
So it's a fourth down and 16. The line of scrimmage or the snap will come from the 22 as Johnny Rogers is deep. Joe Wiley's kick sailing high. Rogers looks at it, couldn't get even one step as the coverage was good and included Tom Brahaney, the All-American center, number 54, and Dean Unruh, number 60. Tonight at 8 Eastern Time, Georgia Tech from Atlanta, Georgia. Keith Jackson, Lee Grosskupper there waiting to bring you that game. And at halftime of this event, the Downtown Athletic Club of New York will make its annual announcement of the Heisman Trophy winner. Nebraska at their own 39, first and 10. Maury Damkroger, number 46, who was alternated fullback with Bill Olds, carried on the play. And his advance is out to the 44 for 5. Second and 5 with Nebraska leading 21-17, 6:44 to go in the third quarter.
And they keep picking up that big yardage on first down, which makes it very difficult to defense them and stop them.
Cox and Rogers are to the far side. And that's what Bud Wilkinson was referring to as Nebraska moves closer to midfield. Jeff Kenny carrying the ball this time up to about the 49 and very close, but apparently not close enough for a measurement. Yes, now the official indicates that he would like a measurement, and the head linesman comes in. Wendell Winkler and his crew. First down. Nebraska at the 49, their own 49.
And Nebraska's use of the I slot in this half has picked up their offense tremendously. Oklahoma's defense has not been able to contend nearly as well with the I slot inside running as they have with the rest of the Nebraska attack.
Nebraska sends Woody Cox and Rogers to this side of the field, or the wide side, from their own 49, first down. They lead 21-17. Kenny and Damkroger are the setbacks. Kenny going wild here in the second half. Mark Driscoll making the stop on Jeff Kenny from McCook, Nebraska, number 35. And the Cornhuskers, showing their might, have moved to the 36 of Oklahoma, Bud.
That extra step of speed, John Shelley was coming up on a perfect inside angle. Kenny saw him coming, just turned on that little extra burst and was able to break right past him.
Jeff Kenny, 5.8 average, 92 total yards on 16 carries. He's number 35. First down from the Oklahoma 36. What a catch by Johnny Rogers. Keith Polk covering on the play as Rogers tried to juke and get more yardage, but the completion moves Nebraska to the Oklahoma 16, a gain of 20 yards.
Let's watch Rogers as he's breaking down the field in the outside pattern. Taggy was running when he threw that ball, and he laid it right on target.
This drive started at the 39 of Nebraska. They now are at the Oklahoma 16. Rogers to the far side on a wide slot position, just inside the split end Woody Cox. Jeff Kinney, 59 in the red jersey is Mark Driscoll, and 43 is Steve Aycock. Two Oklahoma linebackers, no gain, 2nd and 10 from the 16.
And the pressure is really on the Oklahoma defense. Percentage-wise, they've done a great job against Nebraska, holding them to 91 yards in the first half. The Cornhuskers have straightened up their blocking assignments, and using this I set have been able to move much better here in the second half.
2nd down and 10. Taggy, receivers covered. Mark Driscoll making the tackle at about the 11-yard line. Another 5-yard pickup as they just churn it out.
And a great move by Taggy. As you said, Chris, everyone was covered. Instead of hesitating and taking a loss, he was able to turn on the speed and move inside of Day, picking up that 5-yard gain instead of getting about a 4-yard loss.
Rusty Anderson, number 89, who goes to the far side as a split end, may have brought in a play. It's a double wing formation on 3rd and 5 at the 11 of Oklahoma. Here's the pass. Johnny Rogers, short of the Oklahoma goal line. John Shelley, number 33 in the dark jersey.
You've got to respect Rogers deep, and when you respect him deep, it's very easy for him to get open short. Look at him breaking to the outside here as he made the deep fake downfield.
Nebraska trying to cap a 61-yard drive as they now have a 1st and goal at the half-yard spot. It darkens here in Norman, Oklahoma, getting more overcast as Anderson goes to the left. Kinney and Dramkroger are the setbacks, and Taggy tries to go in. To credit the whole middle of the Oklahoma defense, including Raymond Hamilton.
A first down that close to the goal line, Chris, many coaches don't believe there's any point in taking a chance on handing the ball to anyone else. The quarterback ought to be able to get it over from the first down on the 1-yard line.
Jerry Taggy, 215-pound, 6'2" quarterback from Green Bay, Wisconsin. 2nd and goal from the half. But Jeff Kinney goes in. So Jeff Kinney has scored the last 2 touchdowns for Nebraska, going in from the half-yard spot. And the Cornhuskers take a 10-point lead, 27-17. Kinney now with 14 touchdowns for the year.
Taggy doing a good job, and the line doing a good job. He took a long, long time calling the snap count down there. The defense is ready to go, and the longer you make them freeze in position, and your men know when the ball is going to be snapped, the less likelihood there is that they can get off on the mark with you.
61-yard drive, 9 plays. Rich Sanger trying for the point after. Taggy holding. It's good. 3 minutes, 38 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter of play as the game of the year in college football being seen here on ABC with timeout to score. Nebraska 28, Oklahoma 17. Leading, Rich Sanger has the ball teed on the 40. Kicking into the wind, and deep we have Greg Pruitt, number 30, and Joe Wiley, number 22. Here's the kick. Short again. Crosswhite looking at it, but stepping forward is number 40 for Oklahoma, Steve Dodd of Lindsay, Oklahoma. He is a sophomore. So it will be Oklahoma trying to move the ball, which they must at this point of the game, from about their own 28. NBA basketball premieres on ABC tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time as the Baltimore Bullets take on the Atlanta Hawks from Atlanta, Georgia. And appearing for the first time as an expert commentator on our professional games of the week, Bill Russell. Jack Mildred stepping forward from his own 28. 45 is Terrio. And you see Glover again, number 79.
Oklahoma faking to Pruitt here. There's Glover driving Brahaney back, freeing himself from Brahaney. There's Pruitt coming in, trying to block him, and he still moves away from Pruitt out to Mildren. He is some football player.
Harrison 12. The split end comes to the near side of the field on 2nd and 5 for Oklahoma from their own 33. Glover says, oh, no, to Tim Welsh, number 45. Glover then joined by 250-pound Larry Jacobson, winner of the Outland Trophy as the outstanding lineman of the year, number 75.
I don't recall, Chris, ever seeing a middle guard that so dominates an offensive team as Glover. We had him against Colorado, and he played a magnificent game. And Raheny is the All-American center, and he's handling Waheny most of the time, getting through 1 or 2 blockers moving to the ball.
Just beyond the 33. It's a 3rd down and 5 for the Sooners. 2:29 to go in the 3rd quarter. They trail by 11. And here is a pass thrown, and it is complete to John Harrison. Harrison trying to get away, can't. But Oklahoma has moved to the 15 of Nebraska. A pass thrown by John Harrison to Albert Chandler, number 82.
Let's take a look at it again. Harrison is the wide receiver, a split end. Here he is coming back. The fake of the play was to the left of the screen. There's the lateral as he picked it off. Instead of having Pruitt pick it off, he was rushed. Chandler was open on the play. The ball a little underthrown, but Oklahoma has the first down.
A 41-yard play to the 16 of Nebraska. First down. The exciting wishbone. Mildren. Look at him pick his way between folks. Quick feet. Bob Terrio, 45, stopped him just inside the 10 at the 8. It's an 8-yard move, though, by Mildren, number 11, as the Oklahoma fans feel that
he was trying to twist his ankle.
There's the yardage situation, Bud.
Oklahoma getting very close to 400 yards. Nebraska having picked up most of their yardage here in the second half.
Which is unheard of, that much yardage against Nebraska. 2nd and 2. Mildren, his own number again, and it appears that he has the first down. First and goal to go. Oklahoma, Larry Jacobson, number 75, and 24, Bill Cush on the tackle. Mildren now has gained 101 yards rushing on 23 carries. He has scored 1 touchdown. He has thrown a touchdown to Harrison. So now it is 1st and goal with 1:05 to go in the 3rd quarter. The ball at the 3. No gain. Jacobson. Well, he's beginning to show why he's an All-American, number 75 in white, Bud.
He just kind of overpowered Tim Welch. The fake was to Welch, and he went in to try to hit Jacobson, but he didn't quite get far enough outside of him to cut him to the inside so that Mildren could keep going wide.
Clock running, as you see. Nebraska leading 28-17 after trailing in the ball game 21-17 at halftime. Touchdown, Jack Mildren. So the Boomer Sooners go marching from their own 28. A 72-yard drive in 7 plays, and what an exciting game, Bud.
Anytime they ring that scoreboard the way these two teams do, it's excitement all the way. Reminds me, Chris, in 1950 we played Nebraska here. We had Billy Vessels, they had Bobby Reynolds, and that score was 49-35.
Well, we're approaching that now because we have 28 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the kick by Carroll is up and good. A record-breaking crowd here. The last bigger crowd was in 1957, Bud, when you were the coach, and it was Notre Dame that day that stopped your 47-game winning streak.
I remember the afternoon very well. It was gray and overcast, almost like this one. Let's watch the touchdown again. You can watch the blocking here of the wishbone backs as they cut the pursuit down, enabling Mildren to move into the end zone for the touchdown. Let's take a look at it again from another angle. There go those fine blocks. Bell, Welch, and Mildren finding the end zone.
Capping a 72-yard drive in 7 plays. We have Rogers to the near side, and Kenny, 35 opposite, awaiting John Carroll's kick for Oklahoma. 28-24 is the score. 28 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Lots of time for either team as Rogers, it goes right through. But it'll come out to the 20-yard line, a touchback. December 11th on ABC, College Division Bowl games. The Boardwalk Bowl, C.W. Post versus Delaware. The Grantland Rice Bowl, McNeese State versus East Tennessee State. The Pioneer Bowl, Eastern Michigan versus Louisiana Tech. And the Camellia Bowl, Boise State versus Chico State. So check your local listings for time and station. Now the powerful and #1 ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. First and 10 at their own 20. Their super engineer and quarterback, Jerry Taggy, has the ball. Pitches it to the deep man, Kenny. And Kenny,
it's that extra 4 yards he gets, Chris, after the ordinary back would be down, that enables Nebraska to dominate ball possession. Against Missouri, they kept the ball 47 out of the 60 minutes, which is the most unbelievable statistic I've ever heard.
It was a kick gain of 7 yards, and Kenny carried 230-pound Lucius Selman on his way. At the end of the third quarter, here at Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma, where the temperature is 47 degrees, the score, Nebraska 28, Oklahoma 24. And now we await the start of the fourth and final quarter in the game to decide #1 in the nation. Nebraska leading 28-24. They trailed at halftime 17-14. They have bounced back. Oklahoma has just scored on a 72-yard drive, and now it's 2nd and 3 for Nebraska at their own 27. First snap, fourth quarter. Taggy faking a handoff. Faking with one pump of the throwing arm and then carrying to the 31, where Mike Struck makes the tackle.
The statistics, Oklahoma clearly in the lead, 401 total yards to 237 for Nebraska. The statistic that is vital in this game is that Oklahoma has lost 3 fumbles. Nebraska has not made a turnover either by fumble or an interception.
It's a 1st and 10 now for Nebraska at their own 31. Gives you an idea of just how tough Kenny is. And the team that is being tested now is the Oklahoma defensive unit, because they have to get that ball for their offensive team. And here in the second half, Bud, Nebraska has sort of punctured them.
They've made 146 yards in the third quarter when they made only 91 yards in the entire first half.
2nd down and 7 for Nebraska. Taggy is 14. 20 is Johnny Rogers. 85 is List to the far side. Cox 32 to the near side. Here's Johnny Rogers coming the opposite way. There's that blinding speed out of bounds at midfield on a 16-yard gain. Roach forcing Rogers, #20, out of bounds. Rogers with 16 touchdowns this year, 1 here today on a 72-yard punt return.
The leverage man has got to get as deep as the ball. The Oklahoma end is in too tight. Rogers is out around clean, picks up the wall of blockers. And the Nebraska offense in the second half has come to life.
Right on the midfield stripe. Snapping the ball will be Doug Dumler, #54. Taggy right behind him. First down. Getting it away at the last moment to Jeff Kenny. #98. Grabbing that ball, Lucius Selman, as Larry Roach comes in defensively for Oklahoma, and the Sooner fans felt the ball should go elsewhere. With it at the 48, it's 2nd and 8.
Kenny certainly got it put away quickly, Chris. He was hit just about 2 steps after he caught the lateral.
And I've never seen such a last-minute pitch to him from Taggy. Cox goes to the far side along with 20. Rogers on 2nd down and 8 from the Oklahoma 48. Olds is the fullback. Kenny behind him. The fake is to Kenny, and the defense took it. Here's Taggy. Taggy still trying. Ooh.
And once again, Oklahoma loses leverage rushing the passer. They had him, but Taggy had a little bit more speed than Day coming in.
Danny Mullen, #58, in on the play. Along with Mark Driscoll. As now the ball is at the 40 after an 8-yard gain. Let's see, we're just short of a first down. 3rd down and inches. And Look at the yards gained by Kenny, the two quarterbacks, going stride for stride on the rushing yardage. 3rd and inches. Slot I. Jeff Kenny getting yards inside the 25 of Oklahoma. Driscoll making another tackle.
Let's watch Kenny again. Short yardage, it's always good at A to go out wide. You know that the defense is going to be converging to the inside. They've got everybody knocked down inside. Kenny picks up the first down very easily, and the Nebraska offense continues here in the second half to dominate the Oklahoma defense.
A 16-yard run by Kenny. Now the ball at the 24 of Oklahoma, 1st and 10. Nebraska leading 28-24. 12 minutes left in the ball game. Hiding of the ball, it's loose, and Oklahoma recovered. Lucius Selman recovers the ball.
That's the second mistake that Nebraska has made. They jumped offside once. Now they have fumbled once. But that fumble was a big one. Oklahoma has the ball, and they're only 4 points behind.
And we have 11 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in the ball game. A timeout at Owen Field in Norman with a score. Nebraska 28, Oklahoma 24. Lucius Selman has recovered a Nebraska fumble. As a result, the Sooners, who are trailing by 4 points with 11:47 to go in the ball game, have it at the 31, 1st down. Mildren, who scored the last Oklahoma touchdown. Number 11 at quarterback. And Jack Mildren is moving. John Atkins went right along with him. Finally stops him near the 41. Let's see if it's enough yardage.
That's Lucius Selman, number 98, who made that fumble recovery for Oklahoma. Nebraska seemed to be moving toward another, relentlessly moving toward a touchdown.
That was Danny Mullen alongside him on the Oklahoma bench. With the ball at the 41, it's 2nd down and less than a yard. Rich Glover again and on Mildren.
But that quarterback counter will straighten Glover up a little bit. He won't be able to pursue quite so fast with the normal wishbone pattern moving to the outside.
You just joined us. Nebraska led at the end of the first quarter, 7-3. They trailed at halftime, 17-14. At the end of the third quarter, they led 28-24. That's the score now, with Oklahoma getting a 1st and 10 at their own 45. And number 45, Tim Welsh, a 190-pounder from Bowie, Texas, moves near midfield. Next February, the United States gets its first chance to host the World University Winter Games. Some 500 college athletes from 25 countries will be competing in Plattsburgh and beautiful Lake Placid, New York, for international honors in hockey, skating, and skiing. 2nd down and 5 for Oklahoma near midfield. And there is the first opportunity to see the speed of Greg Pruitt. What a play, Bud.
There's the counter option. Let's watch it again. Mildren finally got him to close on him where he could get the ball out to Pruitt for the first time this afternoon. Let's look at it again. Here's Pruitt, a little counter step. Mildren throws the defense, and when he gets it, he can turn it on just like Johnny Rodgers.
Greg Pruitt. His biggest day rushing this year was 294 yards in a game, and as you saw, he has fantastic acceleration. So at the 33 of Nebraska now, following the 17-yard gain, Mildren keeps, and Jacobson is on top of him. And on the bottom, he had some help, too, from 51, Jim Branch of Chicago, Illinois. A gain of 2 to the 31, 2nd down and 8. Mildren, 4 of 6 completions for 1 touchdown, 67%, 122 yards. He's rushed it 27 times, 117 yards, and he has scored a touchdown. In fact, he scored 2. 2nd and 8. And Welsh finds the toughness of the Nebraska defense.
And with time running out, we're getting those critical situations. We've got 3rd down and a long 5.
Yes, it is a long 5. It's more like 6.
Yes, it is.
Welsh playing the fullback position for Oklahoma. As a result, Crosswhite got some bruises early. He's been in and out of the lineup. We have Harrison to the near side on 3rd and 5. Mildren. And it's Welsh. Battles, but is short about 1.5 yards of the first down, bringing up 4th down. Jim Branch on the tackle. And now listen to the coaches in the stands.
This time there's going to be no disagreement between the coaches on the bench and the coaches in the stands. Oklahoma's going to go for it.
They need almost 2 yards. 8:51 to go in the ball game as Oklahoma trails by 4. The wishbone offense with Harrison split at the bottom of your screen, number 12.
Got to go wide, I think.
And there's the first down by the bread and butter man, Jack Mildren.
That was a good idea to come back with the next related play to the one that breaks for long yardage. That was the counter option. Mildren, instead of pitching to Pruitt, felt that they would be drifting to cover Pruitt, kept it himself for the first down.
And he moved it to the 21-yard line. The Abilene, Texas native, senior Jack Mildren. There you see the Nebraska defense, which includes Atkins, Jacobson, Terrio, Glover, Branch, Jansen, Harper up front. Mason, Cush, Blayhock, and Anderson in the secondary. And up front, they were tough on Welsh. Number 45. Very little gain as you see the clock running. 28-24, Oklahoma has to penetrate the Nebraska end zone. Oklahoma with 61 rushes for 280 yards. Coming into this game, they averaged 481 yards. Now it's a 2nd down and 9. And Pruitt doesn't have an opportunity to get his head down and go. He's usually in an upright position when he runs into those big Nebraska defenders. Mason, however, the monster man, joined Jacobson on the tackle at about the 17-yard line.
And you keep wondering, when is Oklahoma going to throw it, because the defense stays up very tight against this powerful running attack.
Pruitt, 10 carries, 49 yards. He's in the wishbone on the right-hand side, number 30 of the 2 deep men. 3rd and 6. And knocked away on a beautiful play. Number 18, Jim Anderson, a senior from Green Bay. It was intended for Albert Chandler.
Chandler was open. Mildren underthrew it slightly.
4th down and 6 for Oklahoma with 7 minutes, 14 seconds to go. Nebraska leading 28-24.
And what play do you call here, Chris?
Well, you're the coach, Bud. You did so well here for so many years.
It's going to be a running fake. I believe that we may run the basic option or a pass off the fake.
They need 6 yards. Mildren busting one out here to a man who's open. It's a touchdown. Oklahoma leads. In 11 plays, and Jack Mildren has thrown his 2nd touchdown pass to Harrison, John Harrison, also from Abilene, Texas. So the Abilene boys really shot him down that time. And we have 7:10 to go, and now we have Carroll trying for the point after, and Oklahoma ups the count. They have a 31-28 margin at this moment. The game for number 1 will continue here on ABC in a moment. The score, Oklahoma 31, Nebraska 28. 35 is Jeff Kenny on the far side. Johnny Rogers for Nebraska awaiting the kick by Oklahoma as the Sooners have taken the lead again on a 69-yard march in 11 plays. Jack Mildren to John Harrison for the score. 31-28 with 7 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the game. Here's the kick into the wind. Kicking it away from Rogers, it goes to Kenny, a very dangerous and tough runner. But he is tripped up by number 37 of Oklahoma, Gary Young, a sophomore from Clinton.
And let's watch the touchdown again. Harrison, wide receiver for Oklahoma. Little inside fake, great backfield fake, and he beats Cush badly to the outside, wide open as he catches the ball.
Harrison, 4 catches, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now Jerry Taggy from his own 26, 1st and 10. Nebraska in the white jerseys. They trail by 4. And here's Rogers. And he lost his footing. The man that had a shot at him was number 96, Raymond Hamilton, but couldn't quite grab him.
Let's take another view of the touchdown. You can see the fine inside faking. And Mildren hitting Harrison, who was wide open to the outside, having fake cush.
6:43 to go. Oklahoma 31, Nebraska 28. Nebraska number 1 in the rankings, Oklahoma number 2. 2nd and 6 from the 30. Jerry Taggy. Jeff Kenny.
Chris, you've played all season dreaming about getting into this game. Now you've got 6 minutes and 19 seconds to go, and on both sides, every down, every snap could be the play that decides the ball game, and the pressure equally on the Oklahoma defense to get the ball one more time, and on Nebraska's offense to sustain this drive as we look at Jack Mildren.
What a star he has been. He's putting on a different set of shoes, hopefully of using them soon, but right now Nebraska 3rd and 1 at their own 35. Taggy. That's a good man to give it to when you need a yard or more. Look at that power runner. Jeff Kenny, Bud.
Let's watch him again as he runs through 3 Oklahoma defenders. Short yardage, toss back from Taggy. He puts the ball away. Watch his power. That's one man. There comes the second. That's Aycock. He slides by the third. That's O'Shaughnessy. Finally is barely pulled down.
Jeff Kenny has scored twice for the Cornhuskers today. Moving the ball to the Oklahoma 48, 1st down. Gary Dixon, number 22, who is giving Kenny a rest, carried for the first time today, and now the clock. 5:15 to go. 31-24.
Plenty of time for Nebraska, but if they do score, it'll be awfully short time for the Oklahoma offense.
Ball now is at the 46. It is 2nd down and 8 for the Cornhuskers. They've won 29 games without defeat. Nice fake by Taggy. Jerry List is going deep, but the receiver is covered, but then coming up short was Rogers on a comeback try off the shoulder pad. 3rd down and 8 for Nebraska. Don't forget this Saturday, Army-Navy game to be followed at 4 Eastern time. Undefeated Auburn going against undefeated Alabama. The 2 opponents for these 2 teams in the bowl games January 1st. But this is a game that has overshadowed all the bowl talk because the national rankings, possible national championship at stake. Bud, the pride of both teams are at stake here, and you couldn't dream up a better game.
And this snap could very well decide it.
4:50 to go. 3rd down and 8. A lone setback with 2 wings out and in going out now. Taggy, just missed. Again by 96 Hamilton. Johnny Rogers caught the ball, and it's a Nebraska 1st down and a big one, sustaining this drive and controlling the ball.
Let's watch Rogers. Had Hamilton not lost the leverage, and you got to give Taggy credit for the move he made. Rogers circling, coming back. Taggy has run now, and on the run, he finds Rogers open, puts it in there where no one can bat the ball down, about 2 feet off the ground.
5 catches, 59 yards for Rogers. 1st and 10 at the Oklahoma 36. Frosty Anderson is in the lineup, split to the near side. There's the Rambler. Can he move? Jeff Kenny, number 35.
Chris, that maybe Oklahoma let them score and get the ball and have time enough to maybe get one back yourself.
Tonight on ABC at 8. Another game, Georgia Tech from Atlanta. And at halftime, the Downtown Athletic Club of New York will make its annual announcement of the Heisman Trophy winner. With the ball now at the 22. It's 1st and 10. Cornhuskers, 3:59 to go in the game. They trail by 3. Look at this run. Johnny Rogers slipping away, falling to the 15 for a 7-yard gain. Slippery.
Oklahoma in position to make the tackle several times, but it makes a big difference who you're trying to tackle. clock, the big factor. If Oklahoma does not stop them, it'll be very difficult for them to have time enough left to score.
Woody Cox going to the far side. Rogers is an inside slot man on 2nd and 3 from the 15. And that's the man to give it to. Jeff Kinney. Mark Driscoll made the tackle, but not before Kinney had gone inside the 10 to the 8. A 7-yard gain. It is 1st and goal for the Cornhuskers, who have trailed twice today at halftime, 17-14. Then they came back to lead 28-24. Oklahoma came back to take the lead 31-28. We have 3 minutes left in the game. Trailing by 3. Nebraska 1st and goal from the Oklahoma 8. Jeff Kinney had a little trouble controlling the ball on the pitch from Taggy, but once he did, he moved upfield for a couple of yards. In on the play, Raymond Hamilton 96 and Selman 98 at the 6-yard line.
And that clock continues to tick away. If Nebraska scores, there'll be less than 2 minutes for Oklahoma. If they do not score, they'll not get the ball again.
Right now, 2nd and goal at the 6. Meanwhile, Taggy comes trotting over to head coach Bob Devaney, a graduate of Alma, a native of Saginaw, 15 years, and what a record he has. So we have a timeout at Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma. The score, Oklahoma 31, Nebraska 28. Just as was anticipated, a close battle between the 2 top-ranked teams in the country. 2:20 to go. 2nd down, goal to go at the Oklahoma 6. Nebraska trailing by 3, 31-28. Going to the far side as a split end is Woody Cox. In the slot I formation, Jerry Taggy, number 14, call signal. What a man to stop. Jeff Kinney, a fumble. And Oklahoma players say that they've recovered it, but the officials say no.
Let's watch it again. Kinney, the ball carrier, I formation, power. Olds blocking ahead of him. He moves outside of the block. He's hit. There's the grab for the ball. He fights through the man. He still's got good possession of the ball. His knee is on the ground now. He is on the ground now.
3rd and goal from the 2. What pressure on the Oklahoma defense. Not to be denied, Jeff Kinney, his 3rd touchdown of the afternoon. And Nebraska has regained the lead, 34-31. Wow, hope you're enjoying this game. It's one of many here on ABC over a 7-day period. We have more to come, including a game tonight, Georgia Tech. Then on Saturday, Army-Navy, to be followed by the Battle of the Unbeatens, Auburn, Alabama.
And 1:38 remaining.
Rick Sanger will try the point after, with the score being 34-31. Total of 65 points scored out here this afternoon. The kick is up and good. A beautiful drive of 74 sustained yards. 12 plays.
Watch the touchdown again. I formation. Olds leading Kinney in. Fran Kroger, not Olds, sorry, and he makes a great block. Beautiful, beautiful block on the Oklahoma defensive end, opening it up for Kinney to drive it clearly across the goal line for the Nebraska touchdown.
But he is one of the truly power runners that we've seen in college football in our NCAA series, which has covered 6 years. Wouldn't you agree?
I certainly would. 6'2", 210, and he's got burning determination.
Now, 2 good kick returners are deep for Oklahoma.
Bob Devaney has got a choice here, too, Chris. You can spin kick it, and you know that there won't be a return, but you've got a wind at your back, and maybe if you catch it just right, you can kick it out of the end zone. If you don't, though, you've got Wiley and Pruitt back there.
Wiley 22, Pruitt number 30. This is the time that Pruitt would like to show his speed. He hasn't had much chance today. This time it's picked up, by Wiley. Wiley finds a hole, but is up and down at the 20-yard line. Coming up immediately following our game, the Prudential College scoreboard with Bud Palmer and Merle Harmon. Scores and highlights of other games being played here on this holiday, which we hope is a pleasant one for all of you, and that this game has helped make it so.
Oklahoma scored in 55 seconds right before the first half. They've got almost twice as much time left in this half.
They have to move it from their own 19 with a 1st and 10. And Mildren immediately wants to go to the air, throwing it long. Oh, Harrison had his man beaten, but the pass was overthrown. 27, Joel Blahak of Columbus, Nebraska, was covering Harrison on the play. Jack Mildren disappointed as a 2nd down and 10 comes up now. On the clock, 1:28 seconds.
And you're always debating, you know, they're going to be thinking pass, and they're going to ignore the running fake slightly. And maybe they'll give Pruitt a little running room.
A 4-point lead by Nebraska. Last time Oklahoma was defeated, 28-21 last year by Nebraska. 2nd and 10 for the Sooners. Mildren. And Mildren is near the sideline after about a 4-yard gain. Bill Jansen forcing him out, number 55. Joined by 81, Willie Harper. Ball near the 23, the hash mark, so it'll be a 3rd down and 6. And a big one. Mildren, 30 carries, 139 yards rushing. Threw a touchdown pass, scored 2 himself. Now trailing by 4, 1:21 to go. Number 1 defensive unit in the nation, led by Larry Jacobson, number 75. Throw Mildren for the loss inside the 15-yard line, bringing up 4th down and about 14 with 1:14 to go, Bud.
And Nebraska 1 snap away from maintaining the number 1 rating and defending their national championship.
Unbeaten in 29 games. What a well-balanced unit, Nebraska.
And what a great second half of offense after being held to 91 yards in the first half.
That's right, and trailing at halftime, 17-14.
You know they're going to be playing pass. They've only had single coverage on Harrison all afternoon. It'll be double coverage this time.
We'll be presenting the Chevrolet Outstanding Offensive and Defensive Players of the Game Award. $1,000 scholarship for the school scholarship fund on behalf of the winning players. And Jack Mildren, after talking to head coach Chuck Fairbanks, moves slowly on the tartan turf on a gray and now dim afternoon as the field lights are not on.
And the game, Chris, has come down to 1 snap, and the season has come down to 1 snap for both of these teams.
And, of course, both Oklahoma and Nebraska have a game to be played. Nebraska going to Honolulu to play the University of Hawaii. And Oklahoma going against their interstate rival, Oklahoma State. So here it is from the wishbone. 4th down and 14. Mildren looking. Mildren getting away. The ball knocked down by, guess who? Rich Glover, number 79. Jacobson was the first in. Look at the size of that defensive tackle. 6'6", 250 pounds. And the Nebraska players are happy, and well, they should be, because they were down twice, 17-14. They trailed another time, 21-17, as Glover, number 79, gets the congratulations he deserves, and my vote goes to him for the defensive player of the game, Bud.
No question about it, Chris. I've seen a lot of great middle guards, but don't think I've ever seen anyone that is as consistently strong as Glover.
So now at the 15-yard line, Jerry Taggy, who's had a fine afternoon, calls signals for the Cornhuskers from Lincoln.
He's not going to throw it, I promise you.
Less than a minute to go, and only a miracle could change the score on the scoreboard, 35-31.
Wide open. This is Johnny Rogers, but when you're ahead in a game of this kind, even though as your position is Taggy, there is no reason to do anything except run the clock out, and when the quarterback has the ball himself, that's the safest place.
The average rushing production by Nebraska in the first 10 games, 257 yards. Here this afternoon, they have rushed for 263. And Jack Mildren played a tremendous football game. Number 11.
Doesn't keep it from being a little heartbroken right now. And he's worried a little bit about the pass protection having broken down on the last 2 passes that he attempted.
We'd like to thank Chuck Fairbanks, his staff, Athletic Director Wade Walker, and Sports Information Director Johnny Keith here at Oklahoma. Also, our expression of appreciation to Bob Devaney, his staff, and Sports Information Director Don Brand at the University of Nebraska for all their help. So now it's a 2nd down and 6, 55 seconds left in the game. Nebraska leading 35-31. Taggy of Nebraska just controlling the football.
And Oklahoma's used up their last time out, I believe, Chris, so the clock is going to run out after one more snap.
Mark Driscoll coming in on the tackle. Back at the 12-yard line, so it'll be a 3rd down and 7 as
we made a mistake on our counting. This is their 3rd time out.
So it'll be 3rd down and 7 from the 12 for Nebraska. There's Chuck Fairbanks, hands in his pocket on the far side of the field, the Oklahoma coach.
It's a tough, tough feeling. You have the shot at the national championship, and it's gotten away from you.
The Prudential College scoreboard immediately follows our telecast from Norman, Oklahoma today. From New York, Bud Palmer and Merle Harmon will be giving you all the scores. And then tonight, it'll be Georgia, Georgia Tech, Keith Jackson and Lee Groscup there to cover the game. And then Bud, Bill, and I will be in Birmingham, Alabama for the Auburn-Alabama game at 4 Saturday, to be preceded by the Army-Navy game, Philadelphia.
And it's a long weekend for the wives that don't like football.
Most wives do, I believe.
I do, too.
We hope they do. All right, 41 seconds, 3rd down and 7. Nebraska with the ball. And Jeff Kinney heading toward the 5-yard line. And on the board, we see 31 seconds. The clock is running.
We got to snap it once more. They'll take the delay of the game penalty here, Chris, I believe. At least that's the way most teams are coached. You might as well use the full 25 seconds. However, if it counts down to about 6 or 8, he'll snap it, I believe, Oklahoma having exhausted the timeouts.
Here's the 4th down play, and ever trying, Jeff Kinney carries the ball, and now Nebraska only 3 seconds away from retaining its #1 ranking, showing us a balanced offense and a super defense against one of the most exciting teams ever, the Oklahoma Sooners. The ball at the 3. And there it is. Congratulations to both teams. Just a tremendous battle here. Pride of both teams very evident throughout the 60 minutes on the clock. And all the excitement and color. The showcase of college football, I believe, Bud, has been a great success and a great victory for the Cornhuskers, and there goes heavy Bob Devaney.
And that's one of those glorious moments for a football coach.
So 2 unbeatens on Saturday. Auburn, Alabama will be televising that one at 4 Eastern time. And the final score again, Nebraska 31, Oklahoma, or correction, 35-31, Nebraska the winner.
How do you like my new Vega? Actually, this is a special display model. Opened up so you can see some of the unseen things that help to make Vega such an exceptional little car. The thick foam, for instance, that makes these buckets so incredibly comfortable. Big coil springs at every wheel to soften up the ride. An engine that's bigger than most little car engines, but every bit as stingy with a gallon of gas. Fade-resistant front disc brakes, protective steel beams in both doors, a double-panel steel roof that adds to the strength and quiet of the car. Now you see them, now you don't. And because they don't show, Chevy could easily have left them out. But then Vega would have been just another little car. And who wants just another little car?
Chevrolet, building a better way to see the USA.
Well, as you can imagine, it's all bedlam down here in the field, and I'd like to introduce to you at this time Mr. Robert D. Lund, General Sales Manager, Chevrolet Motor Division, and it's Bob's task right now to read for us the awards for today's game. And Bob, it was a tough choice.
Well, it was an exciting day, an exciting game, and certainly the players that were chosen provided some exciting spirit for us. The outstanding offensive player of the day came from Nebraska. He's number 14. Jerry Taggy, the quarterback. The outstanding defensive player was also from the University of Nebraska. He's number 79. Rich Glover, the man that played such a wonderful game at middle guard. And here to receive the the Chevrolet scholarships for Nebraska.
Here's Bob Devaney right next to you.
Oh, fine. Is Bob here? Well, here to receive the Chevrolet scholarships for the University of Nebraska is their wonderful coach, Mr. Bob Devaney. Bob, congratulations on a wonderful...
Very much. Thank you very much, and we appreciate what Chevrolet is doing for education and some real fine young people. Thank you very much.
Bob, good luck to you. Good luck to the University of Nebraska, and best wishes for your team from Chevrolet.
Okay, and there is one other little piece of business here that Bob would like to relate to you, Bob, in the form of an announcement, really.
Well, Bill, as a special announcement, we'd like to say that on Monday night, December 20th, down at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee, Chevrolet will make a special award to the outstanding offensive and defensive senior of the year, and that will be a great climax to a great season, Bill.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Now, let's return to our booth and Chris Schenkel.
So the second highest scoring game of this series, which now stands 25 wins for Oklahoma, 23 for Nebraska, with 3 ties, 35-31. And now for an interview or two, again, Bill Fleming.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. And I have with me the 2 players who are so named. Rich Glover, who has won the award for the 2nd time this year. Rich, I'll tell you, you just played a magnificent game. Bud Wilkinson said upstairs, you're the finest middle guard he has ever seen in college football. That's quite a tribute.
I thank him for saying that. Like, I had set my plan to win this award again for the 2nd time, and I won it. I'm glad, you know.
Was it as tough playing against that wishbone as you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, it was tougher than what we thought it was, you know, but we came out and won it anyway.
You know, there was a confrontation between you and Brahaney. You were right head-to-head with him. Is he as good a center as you've ever seen?
Yes, he's a real good center, you know.
I'm wondering if you've ever decided to wrestle.
No, just play football, that's all.
Okay, fine. Rich, right next to you there is Jerry Taggy, and Jerry, congratulations. You were absolutely magnificent.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
What about the Oklahoma defense? You had a tough time there for a while coming back.
Oh, we had a real tough time, especially in the first half of the ball game. We thought we'd kind of take a loose approach and come out and throw the ball and run occasionally, but that wasn't too successful for us first half, so we decided we'd just come out and ground it out, just like Oklahoma did.
Right, well, that would be the question. You know, what was the change? And that certainly indicates to us. When you went into halftime, you were trailing 17-14. What was the tenor in the halftime? What was the feeling in the dressing room?
Well, it was something we weren't accustomed to. We usually go in there a pretty good lead at halftime. We came in here behind for the first time all season, and it was kind of gloomy, but we told everybody to get their heads up, and Bill Cush felt real bad about letting him score that touchdown pass, but he came back and played a fine second half.
Rich, have you ever played in a more exciting game or a better game?
No, this is the most exciting game I've ever played in.
Well, you'll be back for another year of eligibility. We'll look forward to that. And Jerry, congratulations again on a great senior year.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming.
Okay. All right, there they are, Rich Glover and Jerry Taggy, the defensive and offensive players of this game. Now let's go back to our booth.
Once again, the final score, Nebraska 35, Oklahoma 31. The executive producer of NCAA football is Roone Arledge. Coverage of the Nebraska-Oklahoma game was produced by Chuck Howard. Directed by Andy Sedaris. Technical director, John Allen. Be sure to stay tuned tonight as ABC Sports brings you the Georgia Tech football game live and in color from Atlanta at 8 Eastern Time. Then tomorrow, ABC continues its Thanksgiving Day weekend of sports with our first NBA basketball telecast of the season when the Baltimore Bullets meet the Atlanta Hawks at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. This Saturday, a tripleheader, the traditional battle between Army and Navy beginning at 1 Eastern Time. Then it's undefeated Auburn going against unbeaten and untied Alabama beginning at 4 Eastern. And at 7 o'clock, the Kodak All-America show will be seen. ABC's Wide World of Sports will not be shown this Saturday. Thanks to our spotter, Bill Friel, our statistician, Jerry Capstein. Now this is Chris Schenkel along with Bill Fleming and Bud Wilkinson saying so long from Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma. Air travel arranged through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines, the airline chosen by football teams throughout the nation. The Nebraska-Oklahoma game has been brought to you by Chevrolet, building a better way to see the USA. By Dutch Master, the gift cigar, specially packaged for Christmas. By Texaco and the many thousands of Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. Trust Texaco to have the right gasoline for your car. This has been an ABC Television Network sports presentation.
The Muppets visit the Dick Cavett Show tonight on ABC.
I think Merle's got it. It looks like Merle.
Yeah.
Merle have it. And they don't know who scored. Okay, 5-1. Merle, 5-1 on that phone. 5-1. 5. Lynn.
All right.
We're gonna need that phone.
45.
You got
With a minute 28 left to play, Nebraska's ball, 3rd and goal in the Oklahoma 2. Oklahoma leading 31-28. Jeff Kenny, a handoff from Taggy, goes in for a touchdown. That puts Nebraska ahead by a score of 34-31. The extra point makes it 35-31. That's the final score, the biggest game of the year on the Prudential College scoreboard. The Prudential College scoreboard is being brought to you by the people who want you to own a piece of the rock. The Prudential Insurance Company of America. Owning a piece of the rock means that Prudential's investments are working for you. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Merle Harmon along with Bud Palmer. And, Bud, that game was everything we were led to believe it would be.
To be quite corny, a lot of those games don't add up to it. That was not a turkey.
And what happened to the defense?
What defense?
What an offensive show. I don't know how you are, but we're still a little shaky
Great
up
game,
here.
just a great game.
All right, we'll get back to that one a little later, but right now let's take a look at some of the other games played on this Thanksgiving Day, and a game here in the East saw Hofstra beat C.W. Post by a score of 14-12. C.W. Post, led by Gary Richard, the fine quarterback, will be playing Delaware in the Boardwalk Bowl, Saturday, December 11th, here on regional television on ABC. The Southwest Conference title was decided this afternoon when Texas beat Texas A&M 34-14 at College Station. So the Longhorns win the Southwest Conference, will be in the Cotton Bowl against Penn State. And the Southwest Conference standings finish like this. Texas number 1, Arkansas close second with a 5-1-1 mark. TCU a fine year, 4-2. Texas A&M 4-3. Southern Methodist 3-3. Texas Tech 2-5. Rice 1-4, and Baylor winless with 6 defeats. And so that takes care of the Southwest Conference, and this takes care of Mississippi State. Ole Miss 48, Mississippi State nothing. That's always a great rivalry, too. Those state rivalries are, Bud.
They really. I'd like to mention another football game where I have a chance here. It's at Rutgers Stadium this Saturday. Rutgers against Morgan State, and that's for the Newark and New Brunswick Recreation Fund. Let's go to other games played here on Thanksgiving Day here all over the United States. The one you saw, just a Super Bowl game, just finished here. Nebraska defeating Oklahoma for the Big 8 title, 35-31. And here are the standings in the Big 8. Nebraska, as you see, 7-0. They're undefeated. And Nebraska goes to the Orange Bowl against Alabama. Oklahoma coming in second there. They go to the Sugar Bowl against Auburn. Just to show you how strong this Big 8 is, Colorado, they go to the Gator Bowl against North Carolina. Now, that's rather, they go to the Bluebonnet Bowl against Houston. So 3 of the Big 8 go to bowls, and maybe I'll get myself in trouble, Merle, but I think that's about the strongest conference, I think, in the country this year. Here are more scores for you that are played. We had a game that was played. This is going to be a game coming up, Alabama and Auburn, but here's one played this morning, and this game was played in Phoenix City, Alabama, the Stag Bowl. Samford beating Ohio Wesleyan 20-10. And of course we have Georgia Tech tonight. I might say at halftime of that game, the Heisman Trophy, the winner will be announced at halftime of that game, Georgia Tech tonight.
You know, Bud, millions of people watched the game this afternoon between Nebraska and Oklahoma, and I think probably one of the most interested viewers in the country was Coach Paul Bear Bryant of Alabama, whose team will play Nebraska in the Orange Bowl on New Year's Day. And Coach Bryant's going to be with us very shortly via telephone, and we'll discuss that game with him when we continue the college scoreboard very shortly. The Texas game this afternoon, and we'll tell you about that one, then we'll get to Coach Bryant. Jim Bertelson and sub-quarterback Donnie Wigginton divided 4 touchdowns to pace the Longhorns to a 34-14 victory over Texas A&M. And of course, as we mentioned, by winning the ball game, Texas now goes to the Cotton Bowl. Penn State will be the opponent. Scoring 4 touchdowns in the first half put the game out of reach. In fact, it was 34-0 before the Aggies got on the scoreboard. So with Texas headed to the Cotton Bowl, runner-up Arkansas will now go to the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. And Coach Bryant is standing by. All right, we've made the phone contact now. We'll be back with Coach Bryant when we continue the college scoreboard in just a moment.
Own a piece of the rock.
Next year they'll be copying us in Paris. Who is she?
Madame, a lady. Can we help you?
It came with our Prudential life insurance policy. We've got a piece of the rock. Owning a piece of the rock means Prudential makes investments with our premium.
Investments?
And good ones, like the fashion industry.
And jet planes, newspaper publishing, even the Empire State Building. Fantastic.
And the return on all of Prudential's investments can help pay us dividends.
And the dividends keep the cost of the policy down.
Do you think it would look better in ripe plums?
Ripe plum. What do you think? You're divorced.
Talk to a Prudential agent about your financial security. Own a piece of the rock. Prudential.
As we mentioned, we have now established phone contact with Coach Bear Bryant of Alabama. Coach, how much of the game did you get to see that just concluded?
Well, I saw the entire fourth quarter.
What were your impressions?
Well, I was greatly impressed with both teams. I thought it was probably the greatest offensive football game I've ever seen.
Were you expecting that kind of scoring, though?
Well, I really didn't know, but no, I was expecting that kind of scoring. They're both great offensively, and they were superbly coached, in my opinion. That great execution and very impressive. In the fourth quarter, I don't think they had a penalty on either team, and I don't think there was a broken assignment.
What? Now, of course, you're going to be playing Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. How well can you really scout a team on television?
Oh, I don't think very well. We'll be swapping, exchanging film, but I saw enough of them to know that they're great football team.
Now, at one point, Nebraska played a team that plays the wishbone as well as anyone. Now, you use the wishbone also. What are the keys with the wishbone as opposed to, well, a team like Nebraska with tremendous strength and a team that's had great defense this year?
Well, first of all, the wishbone, of course, is a triple offense, and it's very obvious in watching the game that Nebraska was taking away or attempting to take away the wide halfback plays and forcing quarterback and fullback to keep the ball. And meaning, of course, that they probably wouldn't get those long runs. And I thought their defense did well, although Oklahoma scored a lot of points. And, of course, in the fourth quarter, when Nebraska made their drive for their touchdown, well, that was perfection. Because any penalty, any broken assignment, the game's over. And the big play, the third down play, when Jeff Kinney ran for the first down, and then another big third down play when Sagi broke loose and hit Rogers for a first down against, well, actually they had 8 men defending, only 3 were coming up.
Coach,
excuse me, go ahead.
No, Coach, you're going to be playing Auburn this Saturday on ABC television. I'm just wondering the reaction of your players watching Nebraska and knowing this Auburn game is coming up. Would it take any edge off at all?
Well, I don't think so. I hope they didn't see the game. We were practicing, and of course, when we came in, they were probably looking at the fourth quarter in the locker room like I was. But we have enough to worry about in Auburn, and of course, like I say, we're flattered and honored to be playing Nebraska, and I just hope against Auburn we can prove worthy of it.
Coach, thank you very much for your observations. We'll be seeing you Saturday afternoon in that great game down there.
Well, thank you.
Okay, Coach Bear Bryant of Alabama.
The only reason I'm giggling is if you think he's going to let them get down for that Auburn game, forget about it. We'll be back with highlights of the Oklahoma-Nebraska game right after this message on the Prudential College scoreboard.
Oh, sure. See, I've got a piece of the rock. You know, Prudential Insurance, the rock. Well, they invest my premiums in cattle ranches, jet planes, all kinds of things that can help keep the cost of my policy down.
They make other kinds of investments, too.
Sure, like the Empire State Building. Wow.
More than that, investments in people. Look at the inner cities. Prudential investments have meant thousands of new housing units and more jobs where they're needed most.
No kidding.
Take healthcare. Prudential helps build and improve all kinds of medical facilities, like this one in Los Angeles.
I didn't know that.
And Prudential is supporting educational institutions on every level. They're even sponsoring work-study programs, like this one in Newark, that mean high school diplomas and job opportunities.
Investments in people. My piece of the rock is pretty important. Own a piece of the
Well, of course, it doesn't end football here on ABC this afternoon by a long shot, right? We got Georgia Tech coming up this evening. As I mentioned, we had that great ball game today. And it was just amazing, 35-31. I'm rather curious about Bear Bryant and what he had to say as far as the game was concerned.
Yeah, me too. I'm still wondering what those kids down in Alabama really think of this Nebraska team now.
Yeah.
Great ball game. And just some of the plays that will tell you why.
Okay, here we go. This is Oklahoma kicking to Johnny Rogers, a good punt. Now watch what happens. They should have had him right there, but they sure didn't. Picks up some beautiful blocks, cuts to the outside. Now watch this guy move. Watch the block right there. How? That's the first score of the ball game. 72 yards for the touchdown. The point after was good. 7-0 for Nebraska. Bob Terrio made that beautiful block, and a very happy Johnny Rogers.
With approximately 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter, Oklahoma's ball, 2nd and 10 of their own 45. Jack Mildren's not supposed to be able to to throw real well, but what's the matter with that pass to John Harrison, 34 yards to the 21?
Well, they couldn't move it too well. Now set the stage for John Carroll. He's kicking now. Field goal of 30 yards right through the middle, and that made it 7-3 and the end of the first quarter.
And just the beginning, really. 11:09 to go in the second quarter. And Jeff Kenny plunges over for a touchdown, and he had 4 for the afternoon.
Now with 5:30 to go in the half, 2nd and goal from the 4. Watch Jack Mildren on the sweep here. He keeps it. He's the guy with a tear in his shirt, and over he goes. The PAT was good. That made it 14-10 for Nebraska.
But it still wasn't over. 25 seconds remaining in the half. 1st and 10 on the Oklahoma 33. Jack Mildren to the air. 43 yards to John Harrison, putting the ball on the Nebraska 24.
Somebody's helmet flew off. Now, in the next play with 5 seconds to go, Mildren with Harrison for the TD, and that made it 17-14 Oklahoma at halftime.
And so with a score at 17-14, the start of the second half, Oklahoma's ball, and it's 1st and 10. Mildren fumbles on the OU 42. The recovery, Dave Mason of the Huskers on the 46.
Now shortly after recovery on 3rd and 3 on the Oklahoma 35. Now watch their quarterback, Jerry Taggy, number 14, fakes the pitch out. Nice move there. Knocks off another guy and is finally dragged down on the 3.
Now let's keep an eye out for Albert Chandler. Well, how about this one? Bang, and there for another one by Jeff Kenny. Now keep an eye out for Chandler, huh?
Yep. This is Oklahoma once again. Mildren, and that crazy pass on a razzle-dazzle play, and that is Chandler.
And he winds up down around the 15. 37 seconds remaining.
And we had a play and touchdown in between this. Actually, the score is 28-17 now. 2nd and goal at 28. Mildren around from the 3 to make it Nebraska 28, Oklahoma 24.
And the excitement continues. Oklahoma with the ball. And touchdown Oklahoma, and that's John Harrison. The go-ahead touchdown. 31-28 now.
Yeah. And this is Nebraska once again That is Jeff Kenny going over, and the final score was Oklahoma 35, and rather Nebraska 35 and Oklahoma 31.
And will they be talking about this one for a long time, huh?
Don't forget the one tonight, too.
That's right. That's a big one, Georgia Tech, right here on ABC television. 8 p.m.
Right, I'm Bud Palmer, seeing you after that game. The Prudential Color Scoreboard was produced by Jim Spence and directed by Joe Assetti. Associate producers, John Martin. Associate directors, Bernie Hoffman, Ronnie Hawkins, and Dave Malinowski. Technical director, Bob Bernthal. Tonight on ABC, Georgia versus Georgia Tech from Atlanta, Georgia at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At halftime of this game, the Downtown Athletic Club of New York City will announce the winner of the 1971 Heisman Trophy. The Prudential Color Scoreboard has been brought to you by the people who want you to own a piece of the rock, the Prudential Insurance Company of America. Owning a piece of the rock means that Prudential's investments are working for you. Own a piece of the rock. This has been an ABC Television Network sports presentation.
Brian's Song, the true story of two great football stars whose friendship overcome every adversity except one. James Caan stars as the late Brian Piccolo. Billy D. Williams stars as Gale Sayers on The Movie of the Week. Tuesday night at 8:30, 7:30 Central Time, here on ABC.